This isn't funny anymore. I've been up here for ages. No wonder I'm losing weight. There's like no food up here. Please send help. The only way to get me help, to get me back to Earth, is to share the stream. I'm not quite sure the physics behind it, but that's definitely the only way.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what HBO Max did to the Halo franchise. Like, that Halo show is a fucking travesty. It's like they got the source material, they read the books, they played the video games, and then they went, fuck that, we'll just make it up as we go along. Don't watch the Halo show. Remember, I'm a nerd. Thank you everyone for coming back once again. This one is going to be interesting because if you look in the chat about now, I am going to post a Zoom link. That Zoom link will bring you into the call that I am about to join with Brother Sanchez and co. He has declared this is a Royal Rumble. Remember, eggshells. Thank you everyone for joining once again. I really do appreciate seeing all you beautiful people here. Not you, Gary. Let's do it. Let's go over there and say hi. You know, hurt our brains a little bit. Oh, what's going on? Someone's sharing a screen over there. Yeah, I think someone is sharing a screen. But... okay.
Be experimentation, just to be clear, you know, we experiment in science. So, okay, we demonstrate or experiment. My question would be, can you name me the experiment that was done to prove gravity?
Yes, I can. It was Galileo's experiments of rolling balls down an inclined plane. Was his observation of the phenomenon of gravity.
Okay, so when Galileo rolled balls down a hill, you telling me that proved gravity, correct?
No, that was evidence for gravity.
Okay, cool. Everybody just let me talk. I got another question for you. Only Brenda is unmuted. We have our Royal Rumbles going today, but they have to be moderated, guys. So let me go ahead and
just to say that I'm here now when you're ready, okay?
Okay, correct. We'll come to you in just a second.
No worries. You please carry on this conversation. I don't want to interrupt. This is fine for you guys to carry on this. I'll just sit and listen to Brenda.
I would defer to Craig because I just thought
Brenda, I got a question for you, Brenda.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not done. You said Galileo proved gravity by rolling a ball downhill.
No, I didn't say that. I said he gave evidence for gravity.
Cool. You get what I'm saying. We don't want to. Okay, cool. Okay.
No, we have to be
evidence is proof.
Right.
Okay, cool. Okay. So can we I want to use a word we both agree on and evidence. So let's say Galileo did a demonstration that was supposed to
He
give
did an experiment.
strength.
He conducted an experiment.
He did an experiment that was
Yes.
supposed to give strength to the validity of this force called gravity. Let's say that. That's better. Okay, that fits. Okay, so what about this experiment? I want to know if Galileo would have saw the ball rolling uphill, does that prove anti-gravity? I'm just questioning you right now.
The ball isn't rolling uphill.
Okay, what's happening?
And you know it, and you know it too, don't you?
I'm just asking I'm just asking you what's happening here.
But you know what's going on in this video, don't you?
It's a lovely option.
Don't you?
I'm asking you, Brenda.
No, you know that ball is not in fact rolling uphill, don't you?
Tell me what's happening.
No, so you be honest. I'm asking you to be honest and not lie.
I'm
Stop
looking at
lying to
so
people.
This is, so if that's your way out of it, cool.
No, it's you lying.
Okay, what's happening here then? Let me ask you a question.
Oh, we're switching to a different one. Let's go back to the original one.
No, let's talk about
show
rolling
the
uphill.
lie.
Okay, so check this out. Let's just I'm gonna tell you what we're not gonna do today, right? We're not gonna play childish games.
Oh, why are you lying to?
We are not gonna. I ain't lying. I'm asking questions to you that you can't answer. Let me get your ass out of here, man.
Hey,
You're losing your mind. Hold on, I'm not done. I'm talking. 1 second, please. Brenda gotta go. You can't participate. You're gonna just lose one globalist for the globe team. And unfortunately, it was doing good at first. But the thing is, I haven't done nothing today but ask questions. I haven't said nothing. I said, if it's not rolling uphill, explain it to me, because my eyes.
You're so scared, Sanchez.
And just went crazy in a tyrant. These globalists need therapy. That was not a good representation for the globe Earth side. That was mental. That was nuts. I'm going to see how many more outbreaks and just sarcastic and insulting behavior come from their side.
Wow.
You know, whether it be via the chat polls or chatting behind your back in their own little polls and all of that. Let's see the level of professionalism. We're dealing with children sometimes. Not all.
Maybe I can explain. Maybe I can take over from Brenda there and help explain.
Real quick. Hey, bro, I sent you an email or something that's damning against them. It's a video. It's very damning.
So, to answer the question that you were posing, Brenda, Brother Sanchez, the first video was an optical illusion. The second video is a demonstration of center of gravity due to the fact that the shape is slightly odd. Both of the observations that you showed match our predictions of gravity when you take into account everything that's going on. A simple downhill, something rolling down, could be calculated using gravity. Those things you're showing there are using gravity to create optical illusions.
I hear you saying that, but I don't see no proof of it. And I just want to say that all of that sound good, but my eyes is seeing something that I don't think they should see, because if Galileo put a ball on his very table and it'll roll down, if Galileo was alive now and he dropped a marble on his table, it would roll down. And you know what he would say? That's gravity. So if I drop this on the same table and this happens, I'm just wondering what he would call that force, because it's doing the opposite.
Okay.
It's doing the opposite of gravity.
Yep.
So you know what I'm gonna show you, right? Some people call this force, and I didn't call it this. This would be when something does the opposite of gravity. They call it anti-gravitational technology. I didn't make that word up. I'm not that smart, remember. I'm just a flat earther. But I want to know, how is something able to be anti-gravity? For example, why doesn't gravity simply pull this object straight down to the table. Hold on, and I want this to be explained without using electromagnetism, because that's flat earthers claim.
I mean, electromagnetism exists on the globe as well, but a question first though is, have you actually watched the whole videos and listened to the explanations? Because the video that you were just showing from Action Lab, he explains why it's happening and how it actually matches the predictions of gravity. That's what listen, gravity says
I want to hear from you guys. I'm not debating Action Lab, and I don't want a copyright strike. So if I know what I'm doing, if I can mute their voices but just play the clip I need, I've been doing YouTube a long time. I can get away and not get a copyright strike, and I don't need them talking no way. I need you talking. I need the globalists here talking about this. So let's go.
So okay, first of all, right, the first one. Do you want me to do the one at a time? Go back to the first one that you had there, the triangle with the ball. Right, so this one is simply an optical illusion. Just with the way that it is placed, it looks like it's going down uphill, but it's not.
Interrupting them, guys.
This is, you know, this is simply an optical illusion, and the ball is actually rolling downhill. If this object is viewed from another angle, you can clearly see that it's a slope going downwards and not upwards. It's just a trick of perspective. Okay? Is that okay?
Okay, so you said I need to get another view where the camera is more to the side where we can see it and we'll understand it's rolling.
In fact, I'm pretty sure underneath this video, it contains the link to the 3D printer file, which would allow you to print the object yourself and have a look. Now, both this one and the weird circle have the same answer.
So hold on. So on this one, right, he actually have a level on the table showing that this is indeed an incline.
Yes.
And it still rolls uphill. Let me show you that. And I want to know. This is obviously not an illusion now that we got a level on the table. The level showing that our eyes ain't fooling us. That the table is level, but this wooden hill is on a slight incline right here.
Yep.
So I'm just asking the question. I'm just showing what the setup is and hearing your explanation now. You said show it from the side.
Again, this one is an optical illusion. It is actually going downhill, but because it's sitting on that little raised bit, it looks like it's going uphill compared to the direction of the level. It's just a trick of perspective with this one.
So you're telling me that the table, right, is actually sloping down?
No. The level is straight. But because this wooden object is sitting on that, that bit on the right that's up, it makes the whole thing look like, from this perspective, that it's going down rather than up. But again, if you viewed this from a different angle, you would see that it's actually going downhill.
This is the angle you asked for.
Oh, no, sorry, no, this is a different one. This is the right. So this is a different one.
I got a level.
Right. Actually,
level
my explanation for this was wrong. Sorry, if you bear with me. This is actually
okay. Thank you for saying that. That's fair enough. Go ahead.
Yep. Sorry. Right. So this one is actually a very interesting thing. Right. It's to do with the center of gravity of that object in the middle. And as the wood comes apart, because it's like a triangle, so it's closer at one end and further apart at the other end. And as the different parts are touching the wood, the center of gravity of the thing that's actually on it still points downwards and moves it in that direction because of the wood splaying out and touching the different bits of the disc in the middle. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's to do with the shape of the object and as it's going out. Did you ever have what was the game called? The game we had to press the button to get the ball around the little maze, and you had one bit where you had to move the joystick to spread the bars.
I think I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
press
the same.
The button down and
yeah. So there was one bit on that game where you moved some metal bars. You splayed them out to make the ball go down. And even though the bars were level, it's the fact that as the bars touch the outer parts of the ball, as it moves, it makes it go in that direction because the center of gravity ends up pointing downwards.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let your your first answer you scratched out. The second one
Yeah.
sounds more like more credible. So look, I'm gonna go ahead and check more into the
Screwball
second one, and
Scramble,
I'm gonna
that was the
hit you.
name of the game. And in fact, they talk about it in the comments of this. Yeah. So yeah, it's the same thing with the Screwball Scramble. It did the same thing with the ball bearing. And again, with the next one, with the big circle, that it's to do with where the center of gravity is, and the circle's slightly weighted, so the center of gravity moves it uphill, even though the center of gravity of the object is still going downhill.
Okay, I got another question. I don't want to stay on that too long.
Yep.
I'm a this is just our little pre-debate Royal Rumble. I obviously don't agree with what you're saying, but I got so many people on the call that I can't just be trying to get the last word. So I'm gonna just let Craig have that one with his answer, because I got to move on to my next point. So check this out. My next point is this one, and I couldn't wait to get to this one too. So Newton had the apple fall from the tree, and to him that was proof of the force of gravity. What happens now that we got
that never
objects
really
that can
happened.
be anti-gravity? Somebody say something. What happened?
Yeah, I mean,
There's no such thing.
That story was all like isn't really a thing that happened. But here's the important thing, bro, is that more than one force can happen at the same time. The force created by gravity is pulling that apple down. But in that picture you've got there, there's an electromagnetic force acting in the opposite direction that happens to be stronger than gravity in this case. Because more than one force can exist. And if a bird can flap its wings, and that creates a force relative to the bird's mass large enough to overcome the force created by gravity. So what's happening there is just a demonstration of multiple forces acting on an object at the same time.
And I totally get that. I just don't understand how it would be more of a valid explanation than simply density alone. Because density, right, here's how this work on a globe, according to a globe earther that I debated yesterday. He said that density requires gravity and buoyancy. And I was shocked that he knew his own model for once, because that's true. On a globe model, you need these two forces. The force that's pulling down is called gravity, and a force that's pulling up or pushing up is called buoyant force. But density don't need neither of those two forces. It works alone. And I'm going to explain that right now if y'all give me a chance to go ahead and go into that. So the way density works, it's a law that simply, the law of density, right, which is dealing with mass and volume, it simply explains why things sink and why they float. But if I was to introduce a theory called gravity, which explains why things fall, I would also need a theory later to explain why they float. For example, if I give Neil deGrasse Tyson some helium balloons, he can't talk that gravity talk no more. So now he got to introduce a new force called buoyant force. So I don't need that though, because I got one law of the universe that describes why certain things sink and float. So I don't need gravity or buoyant force. All I need is sinking and floating, because what you're calling buoyancy and gravity is sinking and floating. It's simple terms I'm using. Objects don't fall, they sink. And they sink through the air because they're more dense than the air surrounding them, or they float up. We're in a medium. That's volume. And your mass in relation to the medium dictate the rate by which you sink or float, how fast that happens. In the image on the left, you have rocks falling, but you have bubbles floating. You have two forces acting, but guess what? These are not forces at all. This is a universal law that is based upon things settling in their own space, based upon density, based upon their mass and the volume they're in. So I don't need to bring up gravity or buoyant force. It's just one law called density that explains why. Think about it, right? Look at this cup right here. If you say there's two forces acting, one is pulling, one pushing, then they're both are selective. Because the same force called gravity that's pulling the boat down to the bottom of this glass, it won't pull the ping pong ball down. But that's when you say because buoyant force is pulling it up, but buoyant force won't pull up the cherry tomato. See, this is where this tug of war game of buoyancy and gravity makes no sense when I have one law that says things settle in their respected places based on mass and volume. So there are different types of mediums in here, which is your volume, and then you have different massive objects in here, from boats to less dense objects, and it's showing you how things rise or sink to their location based upon their mass and the volume in relation to it. So I don't get
there's a few problems with that. First off, density isn't a force. For something to accelerate, a force needs to be applied, and density.
I didn't say density
simply
was a force.
Well, no, but you said density is the reason
I said it was a universal law that can't be broken.
Yeah, but you said that density is the reason something moves, which means that density has to be the force, because for something to accelerate a mass, a force is.
You said
no. Hold on, please, bro. Come on, I didn't interrupt you. Wait, please let me speak.
Hey, Sanchez, you let you talk for like half an hour, man.
I'm just saying, I'm correcting him because he said
please let me talk. Yeah, but that right, you may not have said it, but whether you realize it or not,
only make his argument and stop saying what I said, that I won't have to correct him. I'm not gonna let him misrepresent what I said.
Bro, please. Well, you need to let me finish what I'm saying first, because whether you said that or not, that is what you implied, right? Because please don't interrupt me, because it is what you implied. Whether you realize it or not, that is the implication that you've given. The implication that you've given is that density is the reason that something moves, accelerates, which means because for a mass to accelerate, a force is required. You are replacing the force with density. So whether you realize it or not, you are implying that this universal law of density is a force. But density is not a force and doesn't have the ability to move things.
That's
right?
why I didn't say it's a force, though.
Well, no, but whether you whether you said it or not, you implied it, because a force has to happen for a mass to accelerate. So you said the reason something moves is the universal law of density, but for something to move, a force has to be applied, so you are implying that that force is created by density. Now, the density tower that you are showing there, all right, let me ask you a question. What happens if you put that density tower in a centrifuge and you spin it round in a circle?
I ain't answering questions, man. I'm gonna let you speak because you misrepresented what I said.
I haven't misrepresented you.
Here's what's going on. The reason why I ain't answering your questions, and you can get the mic back and finish. I'm gonna give you your answer right now.
See how triggered he gets.
The moment you went on your rant and took everything I said out of context, I was just waiting on you to finish so I can clarify what I said. I'm not even really hearing you at this point, because you're gonna maintain that I'm saying that there's a force acting on these objects, and you will not let me explain myself, and I will not speak on your false premise of what I was saying.
Please, please have some respect and let me finish what I'm saying.
Asking me a question.
Right,
finish what you're saying. Just don't ask me questions.
No, I will ask you questions, and I would like you to reply. But one thing I'm going to ask you to do right now is, can you please make me co-host of the stream, of the Zoom call? That's only fair.
Why would if I was on your, I'm not.
This is both of our show right now.
Listen,
dude, this is both of our show. Please don't mute me.
Finish your argument about density so I can.
Yeah, please don't mute me. This is why I've asked you to make me co-host, because I do not want you to mute me. Please be respectful and make me co-host of this stream.
I'm not going to talk over you. I just see.
You keep over talking me. You keep muting me. I would really like for you to have some respect. I would really like for you to have some respect.
That's all you do.
I'm not gonna have my show looking like a damn kindergarten show. Let me get him up out of here as well. He's talking over me while saying I'm talking. You're talking over me right now. Respect my show so I can get some order here.
Dude, this is my show as well. We agreed that this was both of our show, and I'm just asking for some respect.
Because I'm trying to be fair here. What I'm telling you is this: if you can't make
I'm trying to be fair,
so you're gonna keep on unmuting me, right? I'm trying to make a statement, because there was a lot of chaos that took place with a million that hopped on the mic. I'm letting you speak. You're asking me for a key in the middle of you supposed to be explaining density.
Yes, I would like to be co-host, 100%.
Why are you interrupting me though? You just said
I was
we don't
agreeing
want
with
to
you.
interrupt.
I was just agreeing with you.
I just want to get order of the show because there's a lot of chaos and we can't talk over each other. That's where the chaos happens.
Yeah,
So
again, you keep over talking me and then muting me. So
okay, wow.
that's why I want to be
Can you
co-host.
just let me finish right now so we can get it back going? That's all I need.
Absolutely. Please make me co-host.
Can you just let me finish right now?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
I let you talk without interruption when you were explaining density and all that. And I was just waiting on you to finish so I can rebuttal it. But when you start asking me for a key, I got to say no to you. I do got to interrupt to deny your request for a stream key. So
I don't want a stream key. I just want to be host.
See, now you're interrupting me now.
I didn't ask for a stream key though. All I'm asking
is co-host. My bad.
Yeah,
co-host.
100%. So that it's fair for the pair of us because this is right now we're both hosting this show. So
that's why I don't want you to be co-host because you're cutting me off. I need the ability to mute chaos. Right now I'm talking and
you're cutting me off. You just cut me off.
I'm in the middle of explaining something and you keep cutting me off. I could have been
the rest
done.
of the panel who's cutting who off. Because
okay,
I think,
so listen,
respectfully, I think you're wrong.
I cut you off to answer your question. You said, can I make you co-host? I said no. And then this whole chaos started right now.
Okay, well, let me continue then. All right, I'm going to ask you respectfully to not... Right, okay, but I am going to ask you respectfully to not mute me. You do not mute me during this call, okay?
I won't if you would just stick to the intellectual stuff. Go back to your
I'm trying
argument.
to.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to, but please, for the rest of this call, do not mute me. Is that agreed?
Just finish your
Can we please come to this simple agreement? Right, okay. So
I can't make no promises. Let's go.
Well, then you should make me co-host, to be fair. That's all I'm saying. Right, so let me carry on, right, okay? So, again, I didn't misrepresent you. All I said is whether you realize it or not, that is what you are implying. Because for something to accelerate, there has to be a force, right? You said the reason that it moves... No, it's not wrong. Force equals mass times acceleration. That is a fact. For something to accelerate a mass, a force has to be applied. What you said, and I don't want to strawman you here, I'd like to steelman your position, in fact. What you said is that the universal law of density says that the thing will move towards the the less dense medium, right? That is what you said. Is that correct?
That ain't what I said, man. That ain't what I said, man.
Okay, well, please steelman your position for me. How does density make something move?
Okay, thank you. First of all, here's what we getting wrong, and here's where the problems took place, Craig. Thank you so I didn't interrupt you, and now you're passing the mic to me. Let's see if I can go uninterrupted. So when you talk about forces, you're talking about these mysterious deities or energies that are pushing and pulling on an object. I'm not talking about that. You call those two push and pull forces gravity and buoyancy. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't need a force to push and pull on nothing. What I'm saying is that you're inside of a medium, and inside of this medium, things can float or sink. Like in the water tank, bubbles can float in the water, and boats can sink in the water. Though there's no forces in the water pushing the boat down to the ground and pulling the bubble up to the top. It's just that they're falling, they're sinking, they're floating. When I say float, things can fall up too. This is polarity. Things fall up and down. We just call it sink and floating, right? So this concept of things sinking and floating is not that a force is pushing and pulling. It's that the very mass of that object in relation to the density is what gives its accelerant force. Because the bubble is lighter than the water around it. It's because the air bubble is lighter than the water around it. It seeks its level in this whole terrarium. It's a pressurized system. So there are layers, like we have 7 layers of the atmosphere with the lightest gases. being at the high levels and the most least dense gases, the densest gases being below that. Then we start getting to the ground where the solid objects, and under the ground, even more heavier objects. So what we see is things settling in their medium based upon their own mass, not because some pushing it or pulling it there. These little mysterious gods or energies that's playing tug of war. That ain't what I'm talking about. That's what you're talking about. So please stop telling me what I'm talking about and just rebuttal what I'm talking about like I'm doing with you. And if you can't do that, guess what? I'm gonna tag one of my teammates in and count that as a W, and you can tag one of your teammates in, and we can continue and see whose squad got the best people, and I'll allow some of your people. And by the way, I'm gonna end on this. If you're here for Craig and you're in a waiting room, I will allow you back on, right? But you won't be debating me. I'm going to allow you to debate some of my teammates against Craig teammates. But Craig, I'm going to give you the last word on this density ordeal, and then we'll start.
Okay, well, I need a little bit of back and forth with it first before we finish, okay? So,
say that again.
I need a little bit of back and forth with you before we finish it. So let's just have a quick conversation about it, right?
That's fine.
So, So again, I'm not telling you what you think or anything. I was just explaining what you were implying. And that doesn't mean that's what you were saying. That just means that the things that you say make this an implication. So I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm not strawmanning you or anything. I was just saying that what you are saying implies that this is the case, right? So
understood. After what I just did, do it still imply that?
Yes, it does, and I'm going to explain why. Right?
I'm going to disagree after your explanation. We can
this is where I'm going to explain why. So for the density tower to arrange itself the way it does, you're saying that it's just because it's the relative densities to the mediums, right? However, what happens when you put that density tower in a centrifuge and spin it?
Can I answer that?
Yes, please do. Specifically, what happens when you put that?
Oh, I got you. I know what the answer. What happens is the same thing when I put a bunch of fruits in the blender and turn it on. It mixes up into one big universal soup, and then if I stop that, it'll settle again. So let me finish my answer. Then you can say that. Come on, you said back and forth. You asked the question. Just let me finish my answer. So check this out, right? If I was to take this and stir it up, everything would mix for a minute like in a blender. Then when I stop stirring it, it will settle back just like blood does in plasma versus them spinning it or letting it settle. When they want the blood to be separated from the plasma, they do not spin it. They allow it to. I've seen methods where they allow the blood to settle this same way, and it'll separate in layers. But that's my answer to you. You can go ahead with that. You could continue.
So So what happens is it just arranges in the density tower, but sideways. That's why they use a centrifuge to separate things. Because when you put things in a centrifuge with different holes for the different densities of the things, it will separate them out by density. They don't get mixed together. They actually separate by their densities. So when you stick that density tower in a centrifuge and spin it round, the centrifugal force acting outwards makes the density tower arrange in that way, but just sideways. It doesn't all mix up. It arranges itself the same as that, but sideways. The same as if you take a bucket of water and you spin it around your head, right? That water sticks to the outside of the bucket because there is now a force pushing things to the outside.
Do you have a video where we can see this? I just want to say, I ain't saying you're wrong.
Not on me right now. I've got one on my computer somewhere, but I need to reorganize my files, right? But that is what happens, and that's why they use centrifuge. Like you even said, they use the centrifuge to separate the plasma from the blood, because the plasma is a different density to the blood. So by spinning it in the centrifuge, it stops it being mixed up and separates it. Which is because there is a force being applied from the centrifugal acceleration because it's spinning. which goes back to the point of when the density tower is just sitting there normally, that means that there also has to be a force applied for it to arrange itself in that level.
Okay, so what I was saying was, hold on, let me respond to him real quick. What I was saying about the blood separation process is that there's processes where if you just let the blood settle, normally it'll do just like the density tower. Because hold on a second. The word settle doesn't refer to something spinning. It means when something is in its natural sitting, settled state, it will find its natural perspective based upon its mass and volume. If I have a heavy piece of metal and I left it on the ground for so long, slowly each day, it'll sink and sink under the ground, just like a pebble sinking in the ocean. And it'll find a level under the ground where it will find that it's a whole bunch of metals that's made up of its composition on that layer underneath the ground, which is why we can cut the earth ground open and see layers of rock that have they have arranged themselves based on the most dense rocks being the lowest and the least dense being the highest. And this is nothing about two forces pulling or pulling. Like I just explained this without using two forces pulling and pulling, but he's still trying to make it like I'm implying that. That's why I said at this point, I'm not going to play the game. There's other people want to talk. People who are watching this, they'll be able to judge and make their
I do have that
decision.
video if you want to see it.
Okay, yeah. Drop that in the chat room.
Well, I could just quickly share it now on the screen.
Okay,
Can I
let's
say
do
something
that
real quick?
And then, and as you share that video, we can allow our comrades to tag in a second, and me and you will come back to like wrestling, Craig. And then
you need to make you need to let me screen share. You need to click on security and allow screen share.
Oh, my bad. I got you now.
All right, I just want to say this to add on to things. All things are aspiring to reach their point of equilibrium. That's just a fact right there. Everything is trying to reach their point of equilibrium. Has nothing to do with gravity. It's just trying to put itself in this place that it belongs. It's very simple.
And what he's showing really is irrelevant, because what I explained with density, it requires no push and pull forces. So this is just him running away from that.
Well, except that this demonstrates that there's the force that makes it separate out, because as you see, right, when it's just sitting there, you see at the end, the density layers, you got the red at the bottom and the blue at the top, right? But when he's spinning it, when there is a force applied, when he applies that centrifugal acceleration to it, it separates the density in the other direction towards the outside of the bottle, showing that shows that it's a force.
Let me respond to that.
Wait, let me finish my statement first. It shows that there is a force being applied to separate the items into their individual densities.
I get all that. Here's what I don't get, right? I did not use a force to show my separative process. Let me stop your screen share.
You think you didn't?
Here's what's going on now. That what you showing is a red herring. I'm gonna show you why. I don't need a force for density to work. Nothing is spinning this cup for these things to separate. So if you showing me a force that is separate objects, cool. You can separate dirt from clothes as your wash machine spin. Yes, the dirt will fly off into the holes and get, whatever down the cloth. We understand that what centripetal and centrifugal force is. But what I'm telling you is density acts independently without those forces. That's why you said that you had to introduce the force that wasn't there. That's what I was telling you, that density don't need no forces. You had to give density a force by spinning it around. And you said, here's centrifugal force. I know that. Just let me talk. Let only Craig stay unmuted, guys. So check this out. So my thing to you, Craig, is I understand the force is centrifugal force and centripetal force, but you should be arguing buoyant force and gravity. You're all way off topic, giving me a red
I was getting there.
I understand. Listen, I understand that I can apply forces to objects and separate things from them, or blend things together with those same forces. But density, absent of any forces, things will settle in their own perspective locations based on mass and volume when you don't introduce any forces. And you started off by saying, but when you introduce a force, but you also said I was implying that density is a force, but yet you said you had to introduce a force. I told you I didn't need a force to explain density. You keep introducing a force into my equation that has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Okay, so here's the thing. You say you don't need a force, but my point was showing that it's a force that causes things to separate. So when the density tower is just sitting there like that, there is a force being applied. You say you don't need a force, but that's because you're ignoring the force that is actually being applied, which is the force created by gravity.
There is no force.
There's the force created by gravity.
It's an aspiration of equilibrium.
Let him answer it.
Again, as I showed with the centrifuge, a force has to be applied to separate the liquids into their individual densities.
Tell us the name of the force that's
just
doing
like
this.
Just like this, a force has to be applied, and that is the force created by gravity.
Cool, thank you. We'll take that answer right there. It always go back to gravity, y'all. All right, we beat him into a corner with gravity.
Gravity's real.
Keep my word and let the callers. Cool, we'll let you go. We'll let you get the last word on that, and I won't let nobody try to argue behind you. You got that. If you just end on gravity, as always, we know that was gonna happen. Anyway, let me pass it because I got a lot of people on here that want to smoke with you. So I'm gonna bring your people on to battle.
Yeah, cool.
To the battle.
Well, how about I answer some questions from some of your guys, and then we get some of my guys on, and you can speak to them, and then there can be back and forth with everyone. But
listen,
I
gotta make an announcement first. If there's any globe earthers in the chat room, please don't be scared. Y'all been talking a lot of stuff on y'all channels, and you're gonna leave Craig up here by himself. That's like seeing your gang in the club and you from that hood and you ain't pulling up helping your gang. Come on, man. If you're a globalist in the chat room, guess what? Don't argue in the chat room. Click the link and come and help your people. I'm just speaking.
The thing is, they know that I don't need no help. They know I'm the KO King.
Okay. He said he don't need no help.
But no, I have posted the link in the chat, and I'll post it again to any of my guys that want to come in and have a word with Brother Sanchez or his flock. Here is the link.
His flock.
Well, Brother Sanchez, flock, it works, right?
Yo, I just want to know, is it really gravity being applied, or like I said earlier, is it just an aspiration of equilibrium? Everything's trying to find its equilibrium.
Well, things don't have their own mind to find anything. Matter just reacts to forces that are acting on it. That's how things move. That is how the universe operates. Every bit of matter just moves because of forces acting on it.
All right, so we can make like I said, the aspiration of equilibrium is synonymous to basically the law of density, relative density. Basically, that is, it's relative to the density, basically to the medium that it's positioned in, and it's aspiring to find its equilibrium so it can rest.
But why would it aspire? It's not like sentient or anything, right? It doesn't know how to do that. Oh, the only thing matter can do is react to forces.
They're implying that it is sentient, though. That's crazy.
No,
nothing that I say has nothing to do with sentience. All it has to do with,
you said it's seeking.
How
is it finding its place? Yeah. How is it finding its place though? Because it doesn't have the ability to do anything by itself. A rock isn't something that has the ability to seek its own level. It's just a rock.
Okay,
a rock moves because there's things acting on it.
Can I answer that for you? My brother, check this out.
Yeah, okay. All right,
See, watch this, rock. A rock that's in my hand is settled. But if I move my hand from under the rock simply falls right through the air. And that's called, the rock is mass, the air is volume. Density is only dealing with the density or the mass, which is the rock, and the medium that it's in. So the only thing, everything on Earth that is dense will fall based on the air around it to the ground that we're standing on. And so hold on, Brenda, I'm just answering his question. And there's no forces needed with this. I keep proving this over and over. It's simply things floating or sinking within a medium based upon their mass, their density.
I was just going to suggest to Craig that he use the scale example about density that he was going to use with Flatsoid, but Flatsoid denied right away. That would be a great example right about now.
Yeah, that was the next that I was going to go to, Brenda. That's
I
perfect.
still just explained something that there's no way around.
Well, there is, because you're just ignoring the force of gravity,
I sent you an email. I sent you an email, bro.
So, right, let's say we've got 7 rocks, right? All the rocks are exactly the same size, exactly the same density, right? So I get a balanced, a seesaw, and I put 5 of these rocks on one side, but 2 rocks on the other side, right? All the rocks have exactly the same density. But the rocks where there's more of them, where there's more mass, is the thing that goes down, making the other rocks go up. Those 2 rocks aren't trying to seek their own level. In fact, they're going the opposite direction.
And no one said seek their level. I said seek their equilibrium. They're trying to find their rest.
Right, so those rocks try. Yeah. Okay. So, but those 2 rocks aren't trying to find their resting place. They're going the opposite direction to the other 5 rocks. So why are those 2 rocks resting place different to those 5 rocks resting place?
Because apparently their density is different, so their resting area.
No, the density is exactly the same.
Other rocks.
The density of all 7 rocks is exactly the same. So the density of 5 rocks is the same as the density of 2 rocks. The density doesn't change.
Okay,
the only thing that's changed is mass.
Show that. Let's not have no thought experiment.
What do you mean show that? Happening. What do you mean? So you want me to show?
Show it actually happening. Show it.
So you want me to show 5 rocks being heavier than 2 rocks and balancing a scale downwards?
Okay, if that's the case, then that shows that there's a difference in density. You just explained that there's a difference in density.
No, the density is the same. The only thing that's different is the amount of them. The density of all the rocks is exactly the same. The density of 1 rock is the same as the density of 7 rocks, right?
So what?
So we've got 7 rocks of equal density, but 5 on one side and 2 on the other side. The 5 go down.
Oh, so you said they're on a balancing scale. They're like on a balancing scale.
Yeah. So density is exactly the same across the board. But I thought you were telling me it was to do with density.
No,
is it to do with density or is it to do with weight?
Okay.
Oh, right. So sometimes it's density and sometimes it's weight. Is that what you're saying?
Density is like you can't explain density without using mass and volume, and mass has everything to do with weight as well.
Yeah, okay, but I'm just talking about the fact that there's.
It's like you're trying to poison the whale or something.
No,
but what we gotta
what you guys are saying to me overall is that density is the reason that things are accelerating downwards, right? It's all to do with density.
No, but that's not all the case. It's for things to find their equilibrium.
We get it. We're not saying that density is the reason things fall. We're saying it's the reason that they may fall or may float. It's a rock. It's certain rocks that you throw in that water will float to the top because they're hollow with air pockets in it, like a ship on top of the water. So
is it?
I'm saying.
Okay. So let's we've got this balance scale and it's just straight. Okay. And then as it's straight, we put 5 on one side and 2 on the other side. Right. The 2 on one side, in which direction do they accelerate? Up or down?
Here he go with this. You know what, y'all?
No, answer the question. Which direction? Those two rocks. Which direction do they accelerate?
He's really trying right now. Can you answer
the question? Those 2 rocks.
This is crazy.
Hello.
man.
You answer the question.
Hey,
Those
look,
two rocks, in which
Hey,
direction
Craig,
do they accelerate,
can I
up or
build
down?
with you, Craig?
We're
I'm
not
asking you a
I'm not
question.
gonna answer it. They
I would
can.
very much like my
Somebody else
question to be
can.
answered. In which direction
I'm
do
not
those
gonna
two
play that
rocks
game.
accelerate? It's not a game, it's a question.
Yeah,
that
you playing right
conversations
now,
require
man.
back and forward. Okay, so in which direction do those two?
You're not making any
Are you
sense
going to
right now,
answer?
sir.
Are you not? Why won't you answer the question? In which direction do those two rocks accelerate? Up or
Okay,
down?
so let me stop, guys. Let's let Craig talk for a minute. I don't want him to say we ganging up or interrupting him. Now, Craig, here's the beef. Unmute your mic, Craig. Only let Craig unmute. Craig, finish saying what you saying uninterrupted, but just like the police, they don't have to answer questions.
Well, I would. Conversations require back and forth. So I would like somebody to answer the question because
we know what you would
that's how
like,
this
but
works.
they don't have to though, and you have
Well,
to be able to.
if they don't want to take part in the conversation,
okay.
then they might as well leave, right?
Well, no, they don't. Listen, let me answer that question, right? When a person make a point and you don't acknowledge the point, you proceed to ask them a question. Sometimes people say, I don't answer questions. What do you think about
But
what my
that's not how it works
is?
in intellectual discussions. Though in intellectual discussions,
What-
you take the premise of the other person.
You don't get to decide. You don't really.
Well, that's how intellectual
rules.
discussions work. You take the
You're
premise of the
being-
other
It's
person's
okay.
position and respond to it.
It's
You're
all
being
right,
a
bro.
tyrant,
Let them go.
You're
Right,
being a
Let them go,
tyrant,
bro.
man.
It's okay.
No,
People
I'm
don't
not.
gotta
I'm just
answer
trying to have an intellectual discussion, and intellectual discussions sometimes require the other person to take your premise to actually have that
How
discussion.
about if you know what happens on this demonstration, you answer it yourself and continue to explain it. Go ahead.
Or people
You're
could
being-
get
it's a
involved
power
in the
trip.
conversation. It's just the simple way to do it.
I can't
right?
force them to answer you. Maybe they don't know it then. So just
Okay,
now
well,
you answer it
I
then.
will answer it for you. The answer is that those rocks, they will accelerate upwards, going against what you are saying, because the density of all those rocks is exactly the same. The density, they're all, nothing is different between all those rocks, and according to you, they're just trying to find their equilibrium, but they're not. Those two rocks are not trying to find the equilibrium. They are going away from their equilibrium, because there are forces being applied. Things do not move. Things do not accelerate unless there are forces applied. That is just a fact of physics that, whether you agree with it or not, cannot be refuted.
Okay, so
what is the force that makes
real
something
facts-
float?
Hold on.
The real facts is
Buoyancy.
their existence being
That's
acknowledged,
buoyant
man.
force.
Yeah.
That's buoyant force is what make it float. Gravity is what make it fall on a globe.
Gravity
Exactly.
makes it float. Gravity makes it
So,
float.
hold up, Brenda. I'm going by science.com.
No,
not
this is what science
Brenda.com.
says. Science says
I'm on the website, man. That's where I got my demonstration
Yeah.
from the guy.
gravity makes things float.
Hey,
Bro.
can you stop cutting in while I'm trying to get my?
I just want to make a
comrades together here?
point.
But it's
Wow,
our
really?
turn, though, dude. Like, come on, globe earthers. We just let Craig talk. Are we not going to be able to?
No, you
respond?
didn't. You dogpiled him. You dogpiled him.
He didn't say that. He don't need
Bro,
you to
all
say
you do
that.
is interrupt.
If Craig felt like I didn't let him finish everything, and let me get this copper motherfucker off of here, because I just literally muted everybody on the call.
Constantly
I literally got muted everybody on the call to say let Craig finish. Did I not just do that, chat room? So I don't know how nice I can be to Craig. I told everybody, listen, let Craig finish. But Craig, they don't have to answer your question. Now, here's what happened if I can finish talking now that it's my turn, because Craig was finished, right? So the thing is this. If Craig asks a question, no one is cutting him off. He shouldn't ask questions. That's why when I debate, I don't ask questions, because then I know that my opponent can take forever to answer me just being a jerk and don't want to give me the mic back, and they can say, well, you
That's
asked
what
the
you do.
question. So check this out, right? So let me get Watchmaker off real quick too. These people then come, they say words like intellectual, but they act like fucking children. And Craig, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I hope these people don't come from your crowd, because I try to run a professional adult show over here, man. And it's a lot of childish behavior that I'm having to edit and censor tonight. I'm the host over here, and it just totally disruptive and just, childish as hell. So I'm not gonna say those are his people, but so Craig,
Hello.
we're gonna get back on track. We let you speak. If Craig asks a question, guys, is no one interrupting Craig. They got to answer him. And Craig asks a lot of questions when he talks. So don't say we're interrupting him. One thing I would suggest in debates, try not to ask your opponent too many questions that you know the answer to. You're turning the microphone over. And then you say people interrupted you. But let's get back on topic, and enough for the childish conversations. Let's get to the intellect. Now, I got a Black Swan video coming up next from one of my people who told me to pull this up for the Globe Earthers. Who was that who want to make this next argument with the, I got your stuff queued up. Who want to talk about the Black Swan?
Oh, that was me. If that's the one that I sent you.
I can debunk it.
Well, let him make his argument, and Brenda, you and him can go at it then. Okay, you going at it with Brenda now. Go ahead, y'all.
Yeah, just let it play through. It has measurements for the heights of the
It's 36 minutes long, dude.
Yeah, I was
we
gonna
can
say
skip
that
it through.
it's pretty long. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's start about right. Okay, yeah, that's about what we need.
Yeah, that's about right there.
Okay, let me
that's
know
about it right there.
All right, and you can talk and let me know what to do and while you're talking, and I'll do it.
All right, see what they're doing here is it's basically like the Black Swan, where they at a certain point, and the observer, basically the camera's at a certain height, and as they're zooming in at the turbines, as you can see, it's black marks at the bottom. Then there's the yellow, and then there's the platform where people can stand. And given the measurements of the globe, the formula 8 inches per mile squared, or whatever have you, all that the distance that those turbines are, it should be hidden, but you can see all of it from the distance that they are. And it should be impossible on a globe. I wish the video wasn't so long so it can really just go through, but
we can compress it in the future. But yeah, this what you got. We could skip through it if need be, but
and so then it goes beyond the turbine.
Yeah, well, I can cut it really short.
The horizon.
You know, I can cut it really short. What was the calculation that you made that demonstrated that you can see more of those turbines than you should be able to see? Could you show me that calculation?
The calculation that was made okay.
You said that we can see more than we ought to.
Observation.
No, he said we can see more than we ought to. I would like to know the calculation. How much should we see under your theory, under the globe theory?
Oh, I got you.
Okay, under the globe.
What he's doing is disproving the 8 inches per mile squared is what that's doing.
He do a whole chart based on spherical trigonometry that'll show you for each mile how much curvature you got.
Yeah, that's the wrong form. That's the wrong formula. That doesn't show you how much should be hidden. That's the wrong formula.
Well, I get this from so-called credible science.
No, it is credible. It is accurate as far as curvature goes. It doesn't. It's the wrong formula when you want to calculate the amount hidden.
Then break that down. Why it's the wrong?
Yeah, please explain.
Oh, you're the one making you're the one making the assertion that
very clear.
Yeah,
your observation is very clear. Your opposal to it, I would like for you to explain it.
No,
because
you're
it's
the one
very
claiming
clear that what's supposed to be hidden isn't hidden. They're saying that and beyond that.
Yeah, you're saying that there's more hidden than we should, or more hidden than we should.
There's more visible. There's
more visible. Right. What was the calculation that you did, right, to calculate how much should be hidden? And don't use 8 inches per mile because that does not take into account observer height.
Okay, the observer height was only like 2 feet.
Yeah.
So that given 2 feet, the horizon should have only been like maybe what 2? I'll just give it 3 miles.
Yeah.
Show me on
way beyond 3 miles.
Show me.
Yo,
show me. They're very tall.
I mean, it's in the video.
I gotta say something because this going nowhere. Listen, when you talk about observer height, right? The people who came up with this spherical geometry, they didn't take into account for observer height because it wasn't necessary. Let me explain.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Let me explain. I know you
You're-
don't want
you're
me
still
to explain.
wrong.
Watch this. Watch this. Right. Watch this. Right. According to spherical geometry, the Earth is roughly 24,000 miles around in the middle part. And then every 8 miles, we should be detecting for some curvature of this sphere that we're on. But check this out, right? The reason we don't account for observer height, because it don't matter how tall or short you are, it's still 8 miles. Your height will not change the size of the Earth. That's dumb. So that's why they're not caring about whether you're a baby or a man, because of course, a baby looking out at the horizon line, something would vanish quicker for the baby than the taller adult. But just because from their perspective is different, that don't change the size of the Earth or still the spherical geometry involved. Dumb move.
If it doesn't matter, if height doesn't matter as to how much is hidden, then
I
why
didn't say
can
that. I didn't say that. I
just
said
did.
it doesn't matter for the size of the Earth in relation to spherical geometry.
It's like you already know the answer I'm going to give. Isn't it?
I'm
Isn't
saying,
it, bro?
Bro,
he's
you
just
can
giving
just
a
kill him.
reference of if the Earth was actually a sphere, but it's just not that.
No, it matters. I can see more when I have higher altitude. When I'm
But
higher.
you shouldn't, because you shouldn't be able to see
No,
over a curve.
on a sphere, it does matter how high the observer is. That does
Okay.
matter.
I understand that. I didn't say it doesn't matter.
Yes,
I'm
you
just
did.
saying-
You-
no, I
5
did
seconds
not say-
ago,
listen,
you
stop
said it
with-
doesn't.
I'm not gonna keep doing. I don't know what's wrong with Brenda, but I got to keep putting them on timeout. I don't know what to call him or whatever, but I gotta keep putting it on timeout because it's out of control. But let's go.
You're a fool.
Well, can I
Bro.
maybe
No,
respond?
I'm not. I'm just.
Brenda?
I don't.
Please.
Sorry,
No,
I
go
didn't mean to
ahead.
interrupt. Is it all right if I respond in place of Brenda there?
If I can finish, because Brenda will
Yeah,
let
yeah.
me finish.
Yeah, and is
Okay,
it right
so
if I then respond
I got you. I
afterwards? Is
got
that
you.
cool?
I
Yeah.
got you. So let's take this periscope for example. This periscope isn't high off of the ground, and this periscope can see for hundreds of miles if you zoom in on enemy seacraft. It can see for distances it should not be able to see if we were on a globe. Now, if somebody's saying, well, if you raise up, then you can see for those distances. This periscope don't raise up higher than this point here. They don't raise up to get that extra, that extra view of miles of curvature that they shouldn't see. They zoom in, but they should be zooming in on a curve. There's nothing that allow you to see around a curve. Even if you raise up, like Brenda was saying, if the object is way back here, you won't see nothing but the tip of it. We're seeing these things from the bottom up. It ain't like the tip of it is tilting backwards away from us like it would be on a globe here. So that's why Brenda wanted to cut me off and be disruptive. What I found out in my years of doing is if you don't got content, you will make conflict. And I'm going to keep my energy neutral. Let's go, guys.
Okay, so
Hey, bro.
Can I just respond there? I thought. Let me just respond to what's been said before we carry on, please. So first off, I was in the Royal Navy as a submariner, and what you've just said about submarines periscopes is. Well, what you've just said about periscopes is false. They are limited by the horizon. They can't see ships hundreds of miles away. That's just not a thing. But that's beside the point. The answer as to why the bottoms of those wind turbines were visible was refractive conditions at the time. They're not visible all of the time. Sometimes you can see more of it. Sometimes you can see less of it because refraction is happening.
The horizon's supposed to be.
Hold on.
It's
Yeah, hold
supposed
on.
to be visible, though.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Right, because refractive conditions change over time, that means that what we can see will change over time. The light coming from these things will be distorted by the refraction, including the light coming from the horizon. So refraction is the reason that is happening. It's very simple.
Okay, but refraction,
Hey, bro.
real refraction only make things go down, not come up, raise up.
No, refraction can raise things up, absolutely.
Hey, bro, I just wanted you to kill him with whenever y'all were talking about that subject a while ago, I wanted you to kill him because there's a video that shows a ball earther who tried to fly a drone inside of a moving transfer trailer. You ought to pull up that video and have him explain why relatively and none of that shit made sense there, because
drones are GPS locked. You do know that, right? That drones are normally GPS locked to hover. So when you start to hover, they will match that position that is GPS locked and try to hover on that position. So if they're inside a moving vehicle and they're GPS locked to a position, as the vehicle moves, the drone is trying to stay locked in that original position and will move relative to the vehicle.
But that's what I'm saying. He tried to prove that, and it didn't happen. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
So what are you saying? The drone just stayed within the vehicle and moved with the vehicle?
No, the drone kept hitting the back of the vehicle.
Yeah, because drones are GPS locked. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when you set a drone to hover, at least the decent ones, right? When you set a drone to hover, what it will do is it will get a GPS coordinate for where it is at that point in time, right? Based on the ground, right? And if you've just got it hovering, it's going to try and stay in that position. So if wind knocks it off slightly, it's going to adjust and go back to that position. So if you put a drone in a vehicle and start moving that vehicle, of course the drone's going to hit the back of the vehicle because it's trying to stay locked onto that position on the floor and adjusting itself. If you get one of the crappy little drones, like you can get for a few quid that don't have GPS locking, that will move relative to the vehicle. It just depends on the type of drone that you get, but all the decent ones, they're GPS locked for things like hovering so that you can take your hands off the controls and it will stay at that position and adjust itself based on wind or pressure or whatever.
But as it was moving and there was no wind because he had it in an enclosed system. He had it. He had the door closed and everything.
Yeah. So as the car's moving, right, and it's taking that drone with it, that drone is then trying to go back to where it was because it's trying to go back to its original GPS locking. That car's trying to drive away with it, but that drone doesn't know what's going on. It just knows that it's moving away from the position it was locked on and trying to get back there. So it's going to hit the back of the vehicle because it's trying to get back to the position it was locked.
But that don't really make sense whenever it's flying without anything under. It's not nothing holding it. If the vehicle is moving and they're trying to prove that relativity is real, that's just like a helicopter. If a helicopter sits there and it hovers over an object, it's gonna stay hovering over that object for hours on end. It's not gonna move with the earth.
If the helicopter wasn't trying to get back to its original position, if the drone wasn't trying to get back to its original position, then it would just move with the car. But it's not just hovering; it's adjusting itself. It's literally piloting to get back to the position the car is driving away with it from. You know, a helicopter that's just hovering there, it's not trying to go anywhere. It's just hovering above the ground. But that drone, it's trying to get back to the position that the car is driving it away from by tilting its rotors and fighting against the movement so that it can go back to where it was. It's nothing to do with relativity. It's the drone doing what it's designed to do.
Okay, let me ask you this. If a helicopter is hovering over the earth, should the earth be moving under it, or is the helicopter going to be pulled with the earth?
Well, the helicopter will go with the earth because the atmosphere moves with the earth, and the helicopter is using the atmosphere for its lift. So, if we disregard,
how do you prove the helicopter isn't just hovering over the earth and the earth isn't just isn't moving at all?
We can measure the earth's rotation. That's quite easy.
How do you do that? If the helicopter, listen, the world record for the helicopter hovering is like 50 hours. Stayed in the same spot. How do you prove that the earth isn't just being stationary? And
you measure the earth's rotation.
What?
You measure the earth's rotation.
Does a helicopter produce more force than a bird's wing? Wings?
Well, the helicopter weighs more than a bird, so it would have to produce,
Does it produce more force than a bird's fucking wing?
Of course it does,
It
because
does.
the helicopter is
So
bigger,
it's
so
going
it
to
has
move
to have
with the
more force to
atmosphere,
lift
but
it
the
up.
birds can fly against it. But birds can fly against the atmosphere. They're
A
stronger than a
helicopter
helicopter.
can also fly against the atmosphere. It just needs to move, but it can also hover. Birds can also hover.
But skydivers prove this every day. If you're skydiving from an airplane, how are they landing on a moving Earth and they're landing exactly on the target that they're pointing at? They can jump off from a mile away, let's just say.
Because they're still in the atmosphere.
And they land exactly on the target.
Because they're still in the atmosphere, which is moving with the Earth, and they can also adjust their position and targeting.
When birds hover, they don't flap their wings, though. A helicopter's propellers are steady rotating.
Birds most definitely flap their wings when they hover. Have you not heard of hummingbirds?
That's the one that, yeah, I have heard of hummingbirds, of course.
Yeah, they definitely flap their wings when they hover.
And I still got to get it to you about that video you showed last time, but I'm going to leave that alone.
But how can you tell if the Earth is moving? If
you measure the Earth's rotation. I've said that about 10 times.
You need to, in order to know how fast something's going, you need to know destination and distance. And we don't, how do you know the destination or where it's going?
You measure the Earth's rotation using physics and like what would happen on a rotating body.
In order to measure the speed, you need destination.
I'm not saying I'm measuring the speed, I'm measuring the rotation.
So then how do we know it's rotating if you're not measuring the speed?
Because you measure rotation, not speed.
Okay, but what is rotation? Isn't that the speed of something?
No, rotation is movement around a central point. You can have a speed of rotation.
You're measuring a movement by the destination of where it's going. If there's no destination, how do you know it's moving?
Well, I suppose a destination would just be the Earth further to the east. You are on the Earth and you are measuring that rotation.
But you can't assume destination. You can't say, well, we'll assume that it's further. You have to have a destination.
The Earth is moving. The rotation of the Earth is what we're trying to measure to see if it is going from one point to another around its axial point. And there is ways to measure that rotation, like with a simple pendulum.
How can you tell if it's going to one point if you don't know where that other point is?
Because you use
a pendulum. How are you measuring that
see...
point? How are you saying, oh, it's getting...
because you use a pendulum to measure the rotation of the Earth based on its position on Earth.
He has a valid point, Craig, and you ain't making no sense right now, man.
I'm trying to respond, but you will keep saying things and stop letting. Every time I try to explain, you don't let me. Because you can measure the Earth's rotation in other ways.
So how? If that was the case, then this argument wouldn't even be had right now because it would be done right now.
I can measure the Earth's rotation, and everyone that's ever done a physics degree measures the Earth's rotation. There are hundreds and thousands of experiments.
Pull it up.
Okay, I can't show you mine because that was done in 2003, but I can show you an experiment that's pretty much the same that shows the Earth's rotation using a pendulum. Would you like to see it?
Here you go.
No, without the pendulum. Without the pendulum.
No, the pendulum is what I'm using to measure Earth's rotation.
Bro already broke this down before. He already had a video. I wish he could pull it up. The one where the guy had the sand, sand in the thing.
Wait a minute, man. We ain't doing this right, yo. We can't just go on and on and on back and forth with Craig. We got other people that want to get other type of arguments in and all that, right? It's a Royal Rumble, so let's do that thing around. So go ahead.
Okay, well, let's let another Glober in then, and I'll set back, okay?
Well, I don't know if who's a Globerter or not. I'm just gonna go to IL Lev. I don't know what he is, but salutes to him.
Yeah, I'm on the Globe side. Can you hear me? Because I'm not sure it's working.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. One of the things I like, first of all, there are several ways to measure the rotation, but I want to go to something earlier that you talked about with if you lift something up and it falls back down because it wants to get to equilibrium, how about we do it the other way around? Let's say I dig a hole in the ground and take a rock that is on the surface above where the ground is. I take that rock from the topsoil and put it in the bottom of the hole. Will that rock jump out back to the ground where it was originally? If it's supposed to seek its...
no, and I can explain why.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So again, you said you dug a hole, which means you have now changed that medium from a solid ground to now air. So when you drop that rock through the air, can we both agree that now that rock is heavy? So the rock isn't heavier than the air. Is that what you're about to say?
No, I'm not dropping the rock. I'm taking a rock from the ground, from the surface, and placing it slowly and gently, forcing it, basically, if you want to call it like that. It's the same way you pull the rock up, I'm putting the rock down into the bottom of the hole. And it's now supposed to be in this equilibrium because it used to be on the surface, on the top. Now it's at the bottom of this hole. So if what you're saying that it's supposed to go back to its equilibrium, when I let go of the track, it's supposed to jump out of the hole.
What I originally said was, what I originally said was it's trying to find its rest.
That's horrible. Hey, can I please get that guy real quick?
Hey, yo, and after you through, JP, please let me respond to that. Whoa.
I'm gonna go somewhere. Hey, I actually want to go. Hey, I actually want to go somewhere else, bro. Sanchez, I'm gonna let you respond, but come to me next.
Okay, so check this out, y'all. All around us is air. That's a medium, right? And things are falling through this medium called air. This lighter, right? It's gonna settle on something that's more dense than it. If this was water, the lighter would keep falling right through the water till it fell on something that's even more dense than the water, that's more dense than it can settle on. So you taking a rock from the surface of the dirt, putting it on the bottom of the dirt, don't change the density of the dirt. Wow. Wow.
Simple.
Wow. Go ahead, JP. This is easy. Go ahead, JP.
All right, cool. Now you tried to make a point, yeah. So let me go with you real quick, right, to see where you're at in this right here. So can me and you both agree that according to the definition of pseudoscience, that is belief without using the scientific method? Can we both agree on that?
No.
There was a connection problem there. I didn't hear what your definition is, but pseudoscience is not science. So if you're doing science, that's good. Science, that's pseudoscience.
We can literally pull up the definition. There's a definition of pseudoscience. It's science without the scientific method. So I would hope we could agree there. So now I'm going to go ahead I'm going to make my point. So last night we talked about gravity. The first person to bring gravity to us was Sir Isaac Newton. I want to know from you, Eyal, was he pseudoscience by not following the scientific method and having an experiment to prove what he was saying, or did Sir Isaac Newton have an experiment to prove gravity?
First of all, I think Isaac Newton was before the formalization of the scientific method. So he was before there was science. So what he did was clever, smart, he figured out many interesting things.
So it was pseudo.
You can't call it science. It's not science.
It's pseudo.
It was before there was pseudoscience. It was before the scientific method was developed.
Was stabbing his
hey, y'all, let me get him. Why everybody jumping in?
Don't gang up on him. That's true. Don't gang up on him. We're going to pass it to y'all, too.
Y'all see, hey, I know it's easy to jump in because of where this man, I understand what y'all getting at. I feel you. But Eyal, can we both agree that because he did not use an experiment to prove his claim of gravity, that makes it pseudoscience by definition? Or you can tell us the experiment he did.
Okay.
He never had a theory.
Anyone that claims that he has proven something scientifically is not doing science.
Yeah, science doesn't prove. Science doesn't
prove.
So
let me answer that. So last night and even today, you just saw it. What they show as a density tower, that is an experiment showing what different densities do, literally just based on density without any forces being acted on them. That is an experiment. You can do that. I can do that. Everybody in this chat can do that, which makes it it's not pseudoscience. That is science with a repeatable experiment. Cool, we got that. So now, can me and you conclude that Sir Isaac Newton did not have an experiment to prove gravity? Because I'm going somewhere else, but you're making it hard on this point.
Well, science
we
doesn't
just
prove
agree
anything.
that he did not have a scientific experiment That's all I'm asking.
I don't know exactly what he did, but he did not follow the scientific method.
That's
awesome. That's it. That's all I need.
That's honest.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
But again, you understand he
brother.
existed before the scientific method did,
Hey,
right?
hold on.
Science wasn't developed.
I'm not done.
They talking. You can come next, Craig.
I'm not done. Because Craig, unless you can name the scientific experiment he did. And hold on, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I can. There was experiments. Yeah.
I don't want you to cut in. Don't want you to cut in. So now we're going to move on to who superseded the law of gravity, which was Einstein. He said it was the bending and warping of space-time in his conceptual gravity. Eyal and Eyal only. Did Einstein have a scientific experiment to prove the bending and warping of space-time? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wait,
okay, so listen, guys. So listen, no, because now.
What was the question?
Go ahead.
The question was, the question was, did Einstein prove the bending of space-time? The answer is no. Einstein did not prove the bending of space-time.
Neither did Newton prove gravity.
I appreciate you, Eyal. So we can conclude that Sir Isaac Newton was pseudo. We can conclude that goddamn Einstein was pseudo,
right?
Well, this is all
that's
false.
my point for you. And
science
now
doesn't
I would
prove
like to know.
Anyone saying science
Eyal,
proves is doing pseudoscience.
Eyal, now I would like to know, what experiment do you know of that proved gravity?
Science doesn't prove anything.
Exactly. What Craig says.
The density tower proved density is a fact.
Listen.
I got an announcement. Hey guys, I want y'all to follow Brother Sanchez tomorrow right here, because I will have shirts made that says science does not prove anything. I will have
would you like citations for that?
Guys.
Would you like citations for that, Brother Sanchez?
No, I just wanted to let my people know about the shirts coming. Y'all can go back to the debate. Go ahead, man.
The scientific method. Hold on. The scientific method absolutely proves. The scientific
no, there's nothing like proof in the scientific method.
Let's ask you this, something that I think you can agree on. Positive charge, negative charge attract each other. Has that been scientifically proven? A positive electric charge and a negative electric charge attract each other. Is that scientifically proven?
It's kind of hard to hear you, brother. So it's a lot. It's a herring.
He's giving you a red herring right now. Right?
No, it's not a red herring. You don't understand science. Science is not about proving. Science is about explaining.
In my world, the scientific method is for proving a claim that you're making.
Well, then you're not doing science. There is no such thing as proof in science.
So let me explain some, y'all. If I can't prove nothing, then we can't make technology. Because check this out, y'all. I got to be able to prove that my technology is gonna be able to do what I say it's gonna do based on what? Experimentation. So let me explain something to y'all real quick. Here's what they lacking: methodology. When they say science don't prove nothing, they right. That's what we've been trying to tell them. Science don't prove nothing. So how can you be mad if I'm not done? If I make a claim and I say, hey guys, this is the way the universe works. Object that's more dense than the medium it's in will sink. And if it's less dense, it's going to float. And they say, well, you can't prove that. What you think I did with the density in cup, that's what JP was telling you. You ignoring the proof. Let me put it back up here real quick. I can prove that that claim that I just said. Let me put it up right here. So I'm saying that the air in that ping pong ball is lighter than the lamp oil, so it can't sink beneath that level. And I'm saying that the boat's density is heavier than the honey, so it can't rise up from that bottom part. And I ain't giving you a push and pull gravity buoyancy. I'm simply explaining it with the scientific method, right? And I'm proving what I'm saying. And just because I can prove what I'm saying and you can't hold me to your flaws. They can't prove theirs because they using science without methodology. People making claims and explaining the claims. He just said that science is about explaining. Hold on. He just said it. Science is about explaining things, but they're not about saying they're wrong when their explanations don't make no sense. You know why? If I say your explanation don't make no sense, you can't call me dumb if you say you ain't about proving nothing. Prove your explanation, but science ain't about proving stuff. So how am I dumb by saying, look, y'all just talking and that's pseudoscience? Now I'm gonna end with this definition right here. You gotta be patient. I let your people talk. I was quiet. I'm about to end right here. Pseudoscience is a collection of. Can I just finish with no interruptions? Watch this. Pseudoscience is a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on the scientific method. You can't prove it because it's not based on the scientific method, and therefore it's pseudoscience. That's what we was alluding to. Simple.
Drop a flat motherfucking power bomb on that ass.
Okay, right. So if I can respond now, if I can respond now without being interrupted, that'd be fantastic. So no, the scientific method does not prove anything. The scientific method is designed to disprove things. The scientific method has nothing in it that gives the ability to give proof. Because it doesn't ever claim to be complete, and a better explanation of something may come ahead. If we're talking about science and the scientific method, there is no such thing as proof in science. That is a misconception. And I'm going to read now from berkeley.edu, so from an actual university in their explanations. There's a whole page on misconceptions on science. And journalists often write about scientific proof, and some scientists talk about it, but in fact the concept of proof, real absolute proof, is not particularly scientific. Science is based on the principle that any idea, no matter how widely accepted today, could be overturned tomorrow if the evidence warranted it. Science accepts or rejects ideas based on the evidence. It does not prove them. To learn more about this, you can go to this page. The scientific method is designed to disprove a hypothesis. You get a hypothesis and then you make a prediction and you get an experiment to try and disprove what you have come up with. If you don't disprove it, then you accept that idea until a better explanation comes along. There is just no such thing as proof in science. To say there is means you are not practicing science. It doesn't matter if you say you are, you're just not, because science does not have proof.
Okay, so I got him. No. Please let me get him on.
Go ahead, bro.
Please let me get him. Yeah, because check this out. If I say there's some gold buried under my backyard, right? At that point, I just formulated a hypothesis, basically. I didn't make no observations for it. I didn't question nothing or do any research. I just came out the side of my neck and said, look, there's gold in my backyard. I went straight to the hypothesis. Now I got to do an experiment. Let me go in my backyard, right? Because I got to test my hypothesis so I can draw a conclusion and make a report. Now, I'm going to go in my backyard. I'm going to do very simple. I'm going to do expedition-based investigation. I'm going to go to digging. I'm going to go to digging and digging and digging. Okay, so let's say I hit gold. I just find this random gold, right? At that point, I can say, here's the proof that gold is in my backyard. Right, because here it is. Look at the gold in my hand. I proved my hypothesis. Here's the proof. Look at this gold. We're rich now. So check this out. There's something called a law of polarity. If something can sink, it can float. If something can be proven, guess what? Based upon a methodology, that same methodology can disprove something. In the court of law, they can prove you are right, or they can say, you know what, we can disprove everything he's saying, he's lying. So this same method that they use to prove you were right, it's the same method they would use to prove that you lying for the truth and the lie. Interrogative process, questioning and investigative process, looking for the consistency of what you're saying. But to say that there's a methodology that can allow you to disprove something, but you can't prove nothing with that same methodology is why I say, people, this is just, you need to use that's what I'm saying, guys. And I don't want to be let me just stay professional. So check this out, right, guys? You can prove things and disprove things with the scientific method. Don't let nobody tell you differently, people. Like, that's just banana.
Okay.
Only
a person that can't prove something.
Let me go off his
So I'm just going to respond to Bro Sanchez quickly.
Let me go off his
everybody. Me first.
Let me go off his
narrative
real quick.
Yeah, I'm just going to respond to Bro Sanchez first, please.
Real fast, Fred.
No, let me respond and then you can go, please. I'll respond and then you can, because you're just wrong. There is no proof in science. That is just how science works. You can say it as much as you want, but science doesn't care about proof. If you say I'm proving things, then you simply aren't doing science, because there is no such thing as proof in science. No matter how much you argue about it, that's not in my world, in science. That's how science works. There just is no such thing as proof in science. And I can cite you article after article and article showing you. There's no such thing as proof in science.
Keep repeating himself instead of letting the callers talk. You did that just to repeat yourself. It doesn't refute nothing I said.
It does refute you. I can show you the evidence.
Watch this, right? Hold on, wait a minute, Craig. Just because you're reading something and showing me something in the book does nothing for me. I'm using observation-based proof. This is what I'm telling you. You think about this, Craig. You're trying to prove something to me, but you're saying that the method you using to prove it to me doesn't prove
I'm not you doing science.
So wait a minute, wait, Craig. Can I finish? I'll let you go. Let me finish. You're trying to prove something to me right now, but you're saying science don't prove things. So how are you going to prove anything to me? I don't care what you showing there, Craig. That means nothing, Craig. I don't know if you know that means nothing, Craig.
That don't mean shit.
Well, it means that you're wrong.
You can't control.
Yeah, it means that you're wrong.
Be disruptive. I let you talk.
I'm not being disruptive. I'm showing you that you're wrong.
So you telling me you went through? He went through y'all. He gonna cap like that?
He was through, Sanchez.
Yeah,
let me get him, Sanchez. Please let me get him.
So
go ahead.
He was through. So the only thing I'm saying is I gave a demonstration about the goal in my backyard. I proved that goal was out.
Then you didn't do science.
Experimentation methodology. Guess what, y'all? Because you know what I'm saying? So my thing is this right here. I gave an example that throws everything he say out the water, and he want to keep being disruptive and interrupting just to repeat himself. We heard your answer. I rebutted it. It makes no sense. We can just move on. I let you get the last word on the last one. You can't just be childish. There's too many people on the call. We still got to hear from Rob, Lord Byron, and all that stuff. So let's go. Let's pass it around, man.
Just as long as we know that in science there's no proof.
Real quick, let me get him real quick. Sanchez.
Fudge, we gotta let other people too, brother. Come on,
oh, man,
my rule about seconds, though, brother. I don't care if somebody show up to the dinner after they ate and say, "Ah, man, please let me get another plate." I'm gonna say, brother, let these people eat who ain't eat. Quit begging, let them folks eat, and then you'll get another plate, brother. Come on now. I got a bunch of people on this thing, and I can't let it go forever. So I don't want to check this out, guys. Let's go to the next person, and we'll go back to the people who already spoke. Who's been waiting but didn't get a chance. Let's go.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So, do you believe that the sun is really moving through the space and it's pulling everything into motion without us seeing it, feeling it?
I don't have beliefs. I don't understand the question.
Okay, so do you agree with science saying that the sun is moving through the Milky Way?
The entire solar system is orbiting the Milky Way. Not just the sun, the entire solar system is.
No, the sun is moving around the Milky Way.
Yeah, no, not just the sun. Yeah. The entire solar system is orbiting the supermassive black hole Sagittarius A at the center of our galaxy.
Right. So what I'm saying is, so you agree that that force is happening and there's no proof in that force? There's no way that you can actually see it or prove it?
It's measurable. You can see that it's happening.
How is it measurable?
Well, you can measure stellar parallax to see that we are actually moving.
So that's so you're using the pendulum to prove this? Because there's no way of proving the sun is moving.
I said stellar parallax, not pendulum.
Okay. So can you explain to me what that is?
It's looking at the position of stars over times and comparing them.
Okay, and the stars hasn't moved in billions of centuries. What are you talking about?
Yes, they have. You can literally chart the moving position of stars. In fact, sailors have done this for hundreds of years because, Polaris, for instance, hasn't always been the North Star. In fact, around the 12th century...
Because they haven't moved. That's why sailors are able to use it as a GPS.
You just interrupted me saying the exact opposite. The stars have moved, and sailors have had to chart... Stop interrupting me. The stars have moved, and sailors over years have had to actually chart the moving position of stars. In the 12th century AD, for instance, the north point wasn't Polaris. In fact, it was described as a blackness devoid of stars. Polaris was off to the right. Now, the north point is Polaris. Polaris is moving, and you can actually check nautical almanacs from over centuries that chart the moving position of stars over time. So the stars do move, and it's actually been charted over centuries by sailors so that celestial navigation works.
So what do you say if I can say there's them same people, same credibles, same everything that say the stars hasn't moved?
You couldn't show me anyone credible that says the stars haven't moved.
You could see through centuries of written proof on walls and on everything around us that the stars are still in the same place.
Except the written evidence shows that they have moved, because when they actually are charted, it shows that they move. So the written evidence through the centuries of people that are actually measuring the positions of the stars show that the stars have moved, and they've noted it down so that sailors in the future are able to do celestial navigation correctly.
Craig, I just want to ask you a question, Craig.
Hold on, no. Hold up. Let me speak to that last argument, and I'm gonna be brief, and y'all got it. Now watch this. This is how we know the stars ain't moving. The ancients all around the world built these 3 pyramids of Giza. This Giza concept ain't just an Egyptian concept. They got this in China. They got this in Mexico, right? So all of these places in the world, their Giza aligns up with Orion every long count when they say it's supposed to make that alignment. And that's been happening for at least, I know, 26,000 years. And so you got to think about something like that, right? If you saying that the stars are changing, these alignments would be off every time, but they always 100% perfectly aligned. They got a concept called as above, so below. Let thy will be done on earth as it is in the heaven. This is why we pray that, because of this right here. See what I'm saying? So when the ancestors knew that the sky had made a complete long count when that alignment returned back under their pyramids. So that's been happening so long. We wouldn't be able to tell time if that was off now, if that was changing. We wouldn't be able to still, use these same systems today. So that's what I'll say. And then I told you I'll be brief. Go ahead, guys.
So
hey,
yeah,
Craig,
the star. Wait, let me just respond. Craig. Let me respond to that quickly. So the stars over the Giza pyramids actually have changed. Historical records show that the angle has actually increased upwards by about 2.5 degrees since the time of the pyramids being built. So even the alignment of the Giza pyramid. Not blah blah blah. This is historically recorded and factual, showing that the alignment of the stars has changed by about 2. Not because I say so, because the records say so. The recorded actual documents show the position.
So, but they don't
yes, exactly. What the records that people use to chart the position of stars throughout the centuries don't prove what we're saying.
I got you, Rob.
Who's patient? Records?
Hold on, wait, Fudge. Don't do that.
Able to use the stars because it don't move.
Bro. I don't need y'all to do that. I ain't trying to look like don't make me look bad today. Don't make me look like I'm running a daycare or nothing. Come on, man. It's a lot of people on the call, and I know everybody want to argue. I'm gonna let everybody in, but I don't want the shit to be ganging up and chaotic. So check this out, right? Hold up, Craig. I'm muting you because you're giving me echo and feedback from your side. Rob has been impatiently waiting, and I promised that I would just come in and out at the end of Craig's argument with my comrade, and I did that, but Craig wanted to go again, so I'm gonna let him get the last word. I'm gonna refrain for going tit for tat so that Rob can get in, and that's a globalist there on your side, Craig, so I'm being fair. Go ahead, Rob. Thanks for waiting, man.
Thanks for having me, Sanchez. I know I'm a thorn in your side. Thanks for having me, man. Shout out to Craig for representing the Globes. He's all by himself. He's like a solo machine. I love the guy.
Rob, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you guys talk about I hate to digress. I want to keep up with the current topic, but I just think the Cavendish experiment was bothering me because you guys use the Cavendish experiment a lot. But why don't you guys use the Folcott's pendulum?
Well, it's because my debate that you were a part of yesterday, and when you hopped on with the men, that was about, is gravity real? And the only experiment that supposedly proved gravity was the Cavendish experiment. And flat earthers say that experiment didn't prove gravity. And that will explain why I never hear a globe earther bring it up. If I was a globe earther and I looked up, let me show you something right quick. Just using a simple Google search to show you I'm not making this up. Watch this. What experiment proves gravity? What let's see what come up. Look at that. What
science doesn't prove things.
Look, so look at this, right? I know you keep saying that science don't prove stuff, but science say it does.
No, science says it doesn't. That's the thing.
It just can't prove gravity.
Yeah, let's show how they logic is flawed. They bring up the pendulum. If something that's attached to the earth is supposed to show the earth's movement, how does something that's suspended from the earth not show the earth's movement?
Because if the earth wasn't moving, the pendulum would always stay the same. It would always go the same direction. But it
all right,
that's
cool. That's cool. But when something is hovering above the earth, suspended from it, how does it not show the movement? Oh, I'm sorry, bro. My bad.
It's because, man, I want to be able to host my own shit and control how the debates go. It ain't really no random shit going. I see the people who spoke and ain't spoke, and I want to get them in. Like, y'all greedy, man. I don't think that nigga Fudge just shut up. If you was on his team in basketball, he ain't throwing you that ball. I'm telling you that now. He ain't throwing you that ball.
I'm a team player. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
It's a lot of people that didn't go. I even let the globalists who didn't get a chance to fight hop in this Royal Rumble. But Rob ain't do shit. Rob brought up the Cavendish experiment. And he said, why don't we deal with Foucault pendulum? Because that's a toy. That proves nothing. I want to deal with experimentation, not a pendulum. A pendulum versus the Cavendish experiment. If we talking about gravity, think about it. We're talking about, watch this. Just hear me out, y'all. We're saying, hold up, Craig. I told you giving me feedback. Watch this. We're talking about Earth being a sphere. They said Earth is a sphere because of gravity. Because in space, everything form into sphere shapes. Gas, Earth, Earths, all of this stuff form into spheres. So if you could prove gravity, you can literally prove a sphere in so many words. But Cavendish experiment did not prove gravity because according to Craig, these folks do experiments not trying to prove nothing. He did the experiment trying to disprove gravity. And guess what, y'all? He did just that. Now, guess what? This is why people don't want to bring up the Cavendish experiment if they're a globe earther. He keep want to deal with the Foucault. We'll deal with Foucault pendulum if you deal with the Cavendish experiment, because we brought this up today and yesterday. And I remember when JP brought it up, he just said, look, man, I ain't dealing with your question and went into something else. no one would deal with the Cavendish experiment, but we've dealt with Foucault pendulum. I've argued against that. I brought up the cranes. I gave many explanations to rebuttal that, but no globalists have ever dealt with the Cavendish experiment all the way up to this point. And I bet you none will do it when I get off the mic. They just gonna go with something else or something like that. And Craig really can't talk because he says science don't prove nothing. And I need something proved right now. So if Rob, if you can do that, right, this is a good debut for you to make your entrance into the Royal Rumble. Cause are you saying science don't prove nothing, Rob? Or you saying you can prove what you saying, Rob?
Not in the sense you're thinking. Craig was exactly right the way he described science.
Okay, and how did he describe it? Let's hear it.
Through the scientific process, you do the same experiment over and over. If you get the same results, you're proving your hypothesis wrong. That what you consider to be right, but it's not considering it to be right. It's just showing you proving it wrong. If you're proving something wrong, proving something wrong in science,
I'm trying to help you, bro. Craig didn't say that. You keep saying the word prove, and he's saying you can't prove nothing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he didn't say prove. I know. Yeah, because he's giving you the exact
wait a minute. So when you said what he did was exactly right, you should say, well, I agree with some of the way he put it, but let me tweak it a little bit. That's okay too.
Well, no, I'm just trying to maybe get it to a point where it's easier to comprehend.
No, I don't make it easier. I don't need baby food. I can eat steaks, man. Come on now.
Well, it doesn't seem like you understand what he literally told you. Like,
don't make insults, brother. It don't seem like you understand what he said. I asked you to tell me what Craig was talking about, and you're doing a horrible job. You keep the moment you said that they do. No, bro, you said that they do experiments over and over again. And that proves, that whatever that experiment was trying to prove stands true or something to that nature. For example, the way Neil deGrasse Tyson dropping his mic, this is a little childish experiment. He's saying, if I keep dropping it, gravity gonna keep on pulling it down. This is a repeatable, observable thing. And my thing is, give them those balloons, but we ain't gonna talk about that. The point is, if I ask Neil deGrasse Tyson as an astrophysicist, neither one of y'all are not. Rob, you're not, and Craig is not. Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist. If I ask him, Neil deGrasse Tyson, what are you trying to prove when you drop that mic? He's going to say, I'm proving gravity, you flat tart. But yet, when we debunk gravity, you say science doesn't prove anything. We're not trying to prove it. This is a childish game. I played this before with children. I'm going to play it with adults. Let's go.
Peace, Sanchez. I think what is going on is it's about wordplay. In science, a lot of times they don't like to use the word proof. They like to use the word evidence, because evidence.
This is getting horrible, man.
For a different kind of way.
This is getting horrible.
I'm just giving you what science says. This is what science says. They use the word evidence.
This is getting horrible.
That's why when you see DNA, they say we use evidence instead of the word proof.
Oh man, this is so crazy. Let me show you somehow this. Hold on, let me talk to Madon. Madon, from a criminal justice perspective, which is what I went to school for, CCAF, baby. Let's drop a bomb. Community College of the Air Force. Watch this, yo. Madon, evidence and proof are not synonymous. You can have evidence that don't prove shit, and you can have evidence that's valid. It legitimately proves something. Evidence is what you need to prove or disprove a thing, but evidence itself isn't proof. It may be proof, it can be proof, or it may be baloney. But the word evidence and the word proof are not synonyms. Good try, though. I hope you go and research that and learn more. But let's pass it around. Don't keep barking up that tree. You know what's going to happen. Go ahead.
Just let me finish real quick.
You know what's going to happen, Madame, but go ahead.
No, the only reason I make that statement is to give, I was trying to get more clarity on what I think, what was the guy name? Not just Rob, but the other guy, when he was talking about science, about proof and all that. Because through evidence, they'd rather use that classification of a word. I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah, you're wrong.
If I could clarify,
no, I ain't wrong, nigga. Let's ask the guy. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you are wrong. If I could clarify, within science, the proof comes from mathematics, right? That's what we use for what is classed as proof within the world of science. It comes from the mathematical proofs. The word proof means something different in science to colloquial usage. Yeah, Brother Sanchez is right. In a criminal court, proof is a very important thing. It's part of it, but science isn't a criminal court, and science, the scientific method that has been developed, it doesn't work with proof. It works with trying to disprove things, because we can't say things are proof, because we know that another better explanation might come along. Even if we think we know 100% that is the reason something happens, something that is a better explanation might come along in the future. That's why we don't use the word proof.
Hold on. Wait, Madon. There are many explanations for why something dropped, and the explanations can change, but the fact won't. The fact is density. If the air around that mic is heavier than the mic, it's gonna fall. If the microphone is in a medium that's more dense than it, if I bury it in the ground, it won't keep falling, because the ground more dense than the mic, just like I said. So these balloons are rising because the helium is less dense than the oxygen. So it's rising to its layer of the atmosphere. So my thing is this right here, right? It's just, I see what they trying to do, but it's a very desperate attempt to get out of what I call is a real tight body bag that fits them perfectly, because they saying that the scientific method is not trying to prove nothing, when earlier he said that science is not trying to prove nothing, and those are two different things. The scientific method seeks to prove or disprove a claim. To say that right, that I'm seeking to prove this man wrong, but to say that there's no methodology, or I can't use that same methodology to prove him right, that's crazy. Proof and disproof lie in this same methodology called a scientific method, and y'all can't change it just because y'all losing right now. Enjoy this loss, baby.
But all of science disagrees with you.
I made several simple examples. We ain't gotta complicate this. They keep saying what science does and what science does. Bro, that's why I stick to the scientific method. Science keep changing its doggone explanations because it ain't looking for facts. It's looking for the best explanation. Once you get the truth, how do you change that? 2 + 2 is 4. How many times have the fact that 2 + 2 is 4 changed? It ain't all throughout
I could change it.
It ain't.
I could change. I can make 2 + 2 equal something else.
So I'm not. So now we're gonna play little games and stuff, guys. Here we go. 2 + 2 is not 4. But guess what? Teach that to your children next time they count money in the store. Go tell your children that 2 + 2 ain't 4, and send them to the store to get something for you. But I'm not.
There is circumstances where it won't be, though, right?
Right. But this circumstance you need it to be 4. So fail. Let's move on.
Hey, but there is some circumstances where it won't be 4, though, right? So things can change. Our knowledge and understanding can change as we go forward.
I just want to pass the mic and not answer your question, if that's cool, or you're going to force me to answer it. I never saw.
If you've lost that one, that's fine. We can move on. That's absolutely fine. If you admit you've lost that one, we can move on. That's brilliant. No worries.
I'll answer you. I'm going to say I never saw a circumstance where 2 + 2 didn't equal 4 in the context that we're using now, and I'll move on.
Okay, so you accept that there's other context that exists, and you lose. Brilliant. Let's move on.
Okay, cool. If that's what you want to do.
So, Craig, earlier you said that the scientific method does not prove things; it only disproves. So I literally just now just typed into Google.com. I'm just Googled. Can the scientific method prove anything? It literally pops up from a government website that the scientific method is a better set of method that aims to prove or disprove something.
Just so like I said.
There's your source.
Okay, so Google isn't.
Hold on, no, let him go.
Google isn't a source, and actually read what it says. There's no such thing as proof in science. End of story. That can't be changed. All right, this isn't an argument that you can win. There just simply isn't any such thing as proof in science. No matter how much you try to change what science.
Wait a minute.
No matter how much you guys try to change what science means, you can't change what science means. There is no proof in science. End of story.
We're agreeing. You're repeating yourself. We're agreeing. Hold on, I'm gonna give it back to you, JP.
So let's move on to something else.
Hold on, wait a second. Don't do that. We're gonna move. We keep saying you're right. There is no proof in science, which is why you really can't debate from a scientific level if the debate requires you to prove something. But hold on. Not if debate requires
debates
proof,
require evidence.
There is no proof in science. Wait a minute, brother. Wait a minute. Evidence and proof are not synonyms. Please stop doing that.
In science,
now let me finish. Let me finish saying what I'm saying. The same way you approach proving something in a court of law, y'all, it's the same way you approach it in any science. This is criminal sciences, forensic sciences. It's all based on the scientific method. The word science can be placed behind any industry and it will apply. Arts and artistic sciences. It can be botanical sciences, fire science. It can be. So my thing is, you can't just say, well, in science, well, if science is the way the process by which we go by understanding phenomena in the natural world, then we're gonna need to prove or disprove things around us. And if science can't do both of them, that's why y'all failing. Because whenever the situation arises for me, when I use the scientific method, that method have always allowed me to either prove something or disprove something. And I've been using that method.
Well, then you simply aren't doing it right because there's no proof in it.
Wait. You got to be respectful. Don't be the globalists need.
Sorry, I thought you'd finished. I apologize.
If they're going to be disruptive like children. So no, you didn't think that, man. You didn't think.
So I did. I apologize. I thought you'd finished. So I was trying to respond.
Can I finish then? Cool. I'll take your apology. Let's go. So like I was saying, y'all, right? And now I'm going to take longer now because I got to think about what I was saying before he interrupted me, right? So if one of my people want to throw me the lifeline, cool. But check this out, right? If I've been using a scientific method for a long time. It allowed me to prove stuff and disprove stuff. Somebody can't tell me, no, it doesn't. I'm telling you, I'm using a methodology that's allowing me to do both. And if I ask some more people in the chat on this call, does the scientific method allow them to prove something is right or disprove it and say it's wrong? It allows both. So if you can't get those results out of the scientific method, don't try to say I can't get them because I can. Sorry about your relationship with the scientific method.
Can I respond now?
You just said a minute ago, let's move on. But you
I'm going to respond to that though. I am going to respond to that though. I am going to respond to that though, because if you say you are using the scientific method to prove things, then you aren't using the scientific method because the scientific method doesn't prove things. And if you ask 1,000 scientists, does the scientific method or science prove things? All of those 1,000 scientists will say it doesn't. So if you are using the scientific method to prove things, then you're using it wrong. Let's move on.
According to the National Library of Medicine, they say that the scientific method proves or disproves. So now anybody that's subscribing, and that's a government website as well, the National Library of Medicine.
I'm going to pull it up.
Absolutely. And here, let me go ahead and get the link for you.
Yeah, put it in the back.
I have a question while you're looking for the link.
Bring up maybe an educational site rather than a government site, because
we can't pull the link up though? Why we gotta be scared of the link?
Well, I'm not scared of the link, but maybe I would love to see the link, and maybe you could also bring up an educational site and see what the educational sites say.
This is an educational site.
No, it's a government site, not an educational site.
Wait, y'all. This dude
is it a government site or educational site? Which one?
Side of him that's showing me on some little
Wait, is it a government site or an educational site?
But you know what though? This is definitely an educational site because this is a government site, and if I wanted to educate myself on a scientific method, this would definitely be a reputable site or credible site to go to. Now, JP put the source, so let him talk about it. Let's listen.
I just wanted to show Craig that only when you're trying to prove gravity and shit does the scientific method not prove. When you're trying to prove something like density, showing a density tower of everything with different densities all the way, and this works in the atmosphere. I don't know this for sure, but I'm just going to hang myself if I am. The highest gas is probably the lightest gas because, again, of the law of density. You have layers of gases in the atmosphere. All of this can be proven and observed. Now, when you get the gravity, that's when you go to say, oh, well, science don't prove anymore. We can't prove shit. Well, what can you prove? It don't make sense.
I can use maths to prove, because maths is what we use for proof in science. And science,
the scientific method
again, it's just the fact that in science, proof doesn't exist. All right, this is just, you learn this when you do science.
It does. I just showed you the scientific method.
Okay, so you've got one site, right? What you've got is one site that may have written something wrong, but I guarantee every other site and every scientist in the world. So right, hold on.
Drop a ball. Can I get a ball?
Let me ask a simple question. Let me ask a simple question. If I got 1,000 websites that said you were wrong versus your one website that says you were right, which would you go with?
I'm going with the government.
I'm going with the scientific method, and I'm a
Yeah. So, listen to the question. If I got 1,000 websites that said you were wrong about the scientific method,
I don't go with consensus. Let me stop you.
Right. So what you do is you go with the one thing that backs you up and ignore all of the rest that says that you're wrong. Is that right?
Let me answer him, guys.
So wait.
Well, no, Bro Sanchez, let him answer. Be fair.
Yeah. Be fair. Let him go. My bad, JP. Y'all got it. Yep.
Absolutely. Please get it right after me, Sanchez. But to Craig, I don't go with consensus. I go with the scientific method, what can be proven and repeated. So I don't give a fuck if a million people tell me or one. If I can repeat it and do it, that's a fact.
So the scientific method, though, says that you don't prove things. That's the thing.
I just showed you from the National Library of
Medicine. Yeah, and I can show you 1,000 websites that say the opposite.
But when we apply the scientific method, this is how he proved gravity to you. I'm sorry.
No one's ever proven gravity because science doesn't prove things. No one's ever proven gravity because science doesn't prove things.
I agree. Nobody's ever proven gravity.
Okay, so we have demonstrated that gravity exists with evidence, and there is mathematical proof of gravity. But because science, the fact that proof in science, scientific method doesn't. I won't prove it with the scientific method because the scientific method doesn't prove. Right, and again, I can get 1,000 websites. Right, I can get 1,000 websites that will say the opposite. Right, stop interrupting me, Bro Sanchez, please. Bro Sanchez, please stop interrupting me. Thank you. I can get 1,000 websites that will say the opposite to the one website that you've got there. Right, but you will go with that one website because it backs you up. Yet the 1,000 other that disagree with you, you will blatantly ignore. If we got 1,000 scientists and asked them, right? If we got 1,000 scientists and asked them the question, they would say science doesn't prove because there's no such thing as proof in science. That's it. It's simple. There is no argument.
Science doesn't prove.
Too many people trying to talk at one time, and they know that I'm trying to get the mic next. I'm gonna drop the link for somebody in the chat room joining, and there we go with that. So, people, this is the National Library of Medicine. This is a government website. These people right here play a major role in the care that we get in this country, and they play a major role in the quality of meds and all of this stuff. It's a government. So my thing is this right here, right? If we can't trust this one website alone based upon it being a health and medicine government site in the time of the pandemic and all that, if you're telling me that we need to somehow check up behind this government website with third-party sites, right? Something is off in this country, and it ain't the flat earthers that's the problem. Maybe the government and their institutions need to get on board with what the scientists is saying, because it's not us being hypocritical, it's them being hypocritical. Because listen, wait a minute. Like you said, don't interrupt you. So now
I was just agreeing with you.
The problem with you agreeing with me, if I interrupted you to agree with you, you would allow me. You wouldn't want to be interrupted, period. But it's
no, I'd
okay.
allow that. That's like just conversations you talk back and forth, right?
Well, I still won't. I'm just want to just finish right here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead, man. But there's a reason why the American healthcare system is in such a terrible state, right?
He's not gonna let me finish. I see.
Oh no, please go ahead. I'm waiting. Go ahead after you.
You sure? Are you sure?
Absolutely,
sure
please.
I can go?
Yeah, sorry, I thought we were having a conversation, that's all. I thought it was like conversations we were having. I apologize if I've stood on your toes. I thought this was a conversation, but please finish what you were saying.
Okay. So, like I was saying, right, he's now down talking this government institution right here. And which means if I can't trust my government with health, I sure can't trust them with diamond planets and Cassini and space, because that's way basic. Health is on the earth. This is basic. We're dealing with care and treatment. And you're telling me that this is not a legit site, but we can go to another website that tells us the earth is a globe and that's legit, but they both from the government. The government need to be legitimate in all of these areas. We need the government to be legit in all of these areas. So because there's a health website saying something contrary to what you said, then now you got a problem with the government now. That's called stubbornness right there.
I've got a lot of problems with the American government.
That article actually debunks JP when you read it.
Well, let's hear from Madon's perspective. Let's let him and JP go at it.
No, I won't. Read it, JP. Read it. Read it out loud, JP. Read it for the people.
Brother, you want to prove it? I ain't reading it just because you told me to.
I'll moderate it. I'll read it. You're going to spar with him. And then we're going to move this thing forward once you get mopped up. We ain't going to dwell on it. But yeah, the scientific method is better thought of as a set of methods or different techniques used to prove or disprove one or more hypotheses. A hypothesis is a proposed explanation for observed phenomena. These phenomena are, in general, empirical. That is, they are gathered by observation and or experimentation.
Do you understand what empirical mean, Madon?
Right.
Do you know what empirical means?
The opposite of what Craig just said.
Nothing they said.
Do you understand what a hypothesis? Do you know what a hypothesis is?
Brother, do you understand that scientific method
do you
proves
understand
or
what a
disproves
hypothesis
something?
is, bro?
My point was that the scientific method. My point was that the scientific method. My point was that the scientific method proves or disproves. This man just want to say it disproves because he cannot prove gravity when we can prove shit like density. Y'all just want to say that shit can't be proven. We're saying it can be proven.
No one's denying density exists. But density can't move things, that's for sure.
And now
Craig,
listen, guys,
in real
look,
life,
he want to run.
A real conversation in real life, Craig. I'll probably backhand you just off the strength. Just so you know.
What the hell, man? I've been totally respectful. Bro, are you going to let him threaten me with violence for no reason when I've been respectful?
Everybody, real quick. JP been mopping the floor with y'all for the past couple of minutes.
Bro, are you going to let him threaten me with violence?
That's why I said let me mute everybody. As soon as I heard that, I muted everybody, and that's why I said he's been doing. I'm about to speak to that right now. That's what I'm dealing with now, and that's what I'm saying, JP. You've been doing a good job for the past couple of minutes with your flat Earth debate, and you don't got to go to the that route you go on, my brother.
My bad. I had to touch my spirit. My bad. My spirit talk. My bad.
How about you apologize to me?
As JP don't even know what
you ain't getting shit, Craig. No, that you ain't getting.
Right. So you're threatening me with violence, and yet you won't apologize to me for threatening me with violence. Shows what kind of person you are, JP. Shows what kind of person you are.
I'll clarify.
I apologize for him, Craig, so we can move on.
No, I don't accept it unless it's from him. But it shows what kind of person he is, bro Sanchez. So it just shows what kind of person you have here. He threatens me with violence because he doesn't like what I'm saying and then refuses to apologize. What a great person you are. Yeah, we understand what kind of person you are. That's brilliant. But here's the thing. You wouldn't be able to touch me.
He's a cool brother. JP's a cool brother.
No, he's not. He just threatened me with violence. He's a horrible person that thinks that he can threaten people on the internet because they're not there in front of his face.
I'm sorry, Craig. I'm sorry.
I don't accept your apology. Get fucked.
I'm sorry, Craig. You want to hit me back?
There we go. There we
no,
go.
I don't accept your
That's
apology.
what I'm
End of
talking
story.
about right there. That's what I'm talking about. Way to get it back on a positive note. He apologized.
Yeah. No, I don't accept the apology because he doesn't mean it.
Well, he gave it. You don't gotta accept it, but now we can move on. Then he gave it to you, and you can slap it down on the floor. And
no, he doesn't mean it, so I don't accept it. What I'll do is I'll accept it once he sends me a direct message explaining exactly why what he did was wrong.
Bro, he don't even want to apologize, so you just doing the most.
Well, then it just shows what kind of person he is.
Just so we can get back to the flat Earth globe, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, Sanchez,
right, so let's talk about gravity, shall we? Let's talk about gravity and how there is evidence of gravity.
Apology, but let me.
No, JP doesn't get to talk to me again. End of story. He's not allowed.
Okay, I won't let JP address you then. Well, I gotta let Random get in. He's been waiting a while. Check this out, guys. Get your tickets to the debate. We only got 3-4 days. It's on the 19th here. All right, with me and Craig, and I apologize for squeezing these two debates together, but I didn't have a choice. If you can make it out, we appreciate y'all. The links is in the top of the chat and in the video description. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, bro, Sanchez? Shout out to the family, Flat Power. You know what's up. Yeah, I just wanted to ask Craig a question.
Yeah, sure. Do you think JP could just leave? I don't think he should be part of this conversation at all.
Hey, come on, man! Like you doing the most, bro. We ain't kids. How you got your
No, man. I'm not here to be threatened, right? So I don't. He shouldn't be here.
He apologized.
Hey,
right?
I'm not. Craig, I'm sorry. One last time, I didn't mean it. I apologize.
No, you did mean it though.
Bro,
you did mean it.
This is for Bro Sanchez's channel more than anything else, because I really don't. But I'm done. I'm off this bill. Go ahead with some intellect. Go ahead.
All right, let me go to the question, man. Hey,
shout
out JP, man.
Hey,
bro,
would you just quit the screen share so that we can get the faces up, please?
All right, look, can I get my other caller in right now?
Yeah. It's just if you could, could you just
I'm gonna ask you to show me something anyway, Craig. I'm gonna ask you a question that's gonna need you to show me anyway. I wanted to know is there any I'm gonna try to be as short as I can. So I've been on this panel several times and I've showed just a simple example using like a light bulb as the sun. Before I present the question, I just want to know, let me know if I'm wrong with any of my understanding. We rotate around the sun one full time in a year, correct?
Yeah. We orbit the sun once a year, correct?
Okay, right. But whether it's an oval or a pure perfect circle, obviously not a perfect circle, but we make one full rotation, correct?
Yeah, it is a slight ellipse, yes, but yeah, it's one full rotation around the sun to return to the same point relative
we're on
to
the
the
same
sun
page.
each year. Yeah,
we're on the same page. And then one time a day, the Earth spins around itself, right? It rotates itself, right? Once 24 hours, right?
Well, in 24 hours, it returns to the same point relative to the stars, but it takes
does that by spinning, right?
Yeah. But we also have what's called a sidereal day, which is its spin relative to the sun, which is all slightly less because it's moving. But yeah, 24 hours is a day roughly.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm not really into this. I'm not really like trying to get in on the semantics of the time because that's not really that important. It's just the fact that it spins around. That's
Yeah.
So according to those two things that we just discussed, is there any working scientific model that you could explain? And when I say this is because if what we're saying is correct and you just look at it in a quadrant perspective, January would be right here in the sun, and then March would be on the side, June would be in the back, and September would be on the other side.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, now if that's the case, and the Earth also rotates one time a day, that's how we go from night to day. When you spin on the backside, when you're facing the sun would be blocking the stars that would be behind it. And then when you turn around and it's nighttime, you see the stars on the other side of you, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any working scientific model that would show why there's only one set of zodiac signs and stuff like that, only one zodiac wheel, when in January at nighttime, say I'm facing you right now, in January at nighttime, I would be seeing the backside of my room if my room was space. But in June, I'd be on the back of my phone, and when I turned around, I'd be looking this way. in space, which would be a whole opposite side of space, but how do we see the same stars? Is there any working model that would explain that?
Yeah, so we don't see the same stars throughout the whole year. There's some stars we only see for 6 months, and there's other stars we only see for 6 months. There are stars that we see throughout the whole year, which are stars that are in alignment with, above us. So if you're looking at the North Star is in alignment with our axial tilt. So the Earth's rotating.
How would that work?
Right. So
but real quick, I'm gonna get right back to you because I just gotta. How
I'm trying to explain how it works. Yeah, I'm trying to explain.
Above us. Look, you said the stars that were aligned above us, but how would that work in somewhere like China, which would be actually below us? They wouldn't be able to see the stars above us up here.
No, they see different stars. They see different stars throughout the year. Yeah,
different stars. So they they also
China sees different stars to America for at certain points, from where they are. But the entire Earth is rotating. So China will see it at one point, and then as it rotates, America's gonna see it. But
right. But that's on one side of the sun, though. What about halfway through the year when we journey on the other side of the sun in June, when we're on the back side?
Yeah, you see different stars.
Different stuff at night.
You do. You see different stars through 6 months of the year.
So why don't we?
So the sun's here, right, and the Earth's here. Well, we can always see the stars that are up there, right? No matter where we are compared to the sun, we can always see the stars that are above it. But if the sun's here, for 6 months of the year, we won't be able to see the stars over here. And then for 6 months of the year, we won't be able to see the stars that are over there. But there are certain stars that above or below, directly in line with north or south, that are always going to be visible.
But you see how you just did that with the north or south, bro? Like you're pointing to the ceiling and then the floor. So you can't be looking up when you point it down. Right. That's what I'm saying. The south part, they couldn't be seeing the stars above their head that we're all seeing in the north part.
They see different stars. The ones in south, they see different stars.
But people in the south some stars that we all see. You had to admit that.
No, as in there's stars that we can see, as in there's stars that we can see all year round.
Hold on. When you say we, do you mean the world? You mean us and China?
Yeah. There's certain stars that, depending on your position on Earth, you'll be able to see all year round. So if you're in let me clarify. Let me clarify, and I'll get there. Yeah. Let me clarify, and I will. If you let me clarify, I will.
Look at my screen. There's a working model on my screen. Look.
Yeah. So if I could just clarify,
Can I ask Rob a question about his working model?
Wait, can I just? Or I could just not. Okay, never mind. I was trying to answer the question.
So it could be scrutinized. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Right.
You got it.
So, in the northern hemisphere, we can see Polaris, the North Star, throughout the whole year. In the southern hemisphere, they can see the Southern Crux throughout the whole year, because that's in alignment with the southern pole, whereas Polaris is in alignment with the North Pole. But there are certain stars on the equatorial plane that we can only see for 6 months at a time. And if you would like a working model, then I suggest you download Solar System Scope, which you can get for free at solarsystemscope.com.
Okay, cool. Now, when I talk about this whole Southern Cross thing, if you saying that is
I was gonna go in, but go ahead, Sanchez. Take it. Go ahead,
you got it.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, if that's his explanation that people below the equator is navigating using the Southern Cross, we use North Star technology everywhere, but I don't want to go too deep into that because Craig always got to draw these arguments out, and I got a lot of people to get
here.
To
can I get in here for the stars that you can always see thing?
Yeah, let's pass it around and get everybody.
Okay, so I think what you're talking about is like how there are pole stars, where there's Polaris, and then there's the constellations that are always up near the North Pole, and then if you're in the south, then there's the ones near the South Pole. Now, depending on how far north or south you are from the equator, then you'll be able to see more or less stars that are up above you. So right now I'm in Texas, but if I go back up to Connecticut, where I'm from, there's a lot more stars that will be visible all year round.
Yeah, because some stars are fit stars and some stars are wandering stars.
But if I'm in the south, though, then there's the Southern Cross, of course, and you wouldn't be able to see any of the stars that would have been the northern ones. So this is the
I understand that, but you know, that's explained perfectly on a flat Earth, but it just don't make sense on a globe.
It explains it. That way could work on the northern hemisphere. It could not work on the southern hemisphere, though. It could kind of work for the flat Earth for the northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere cannot, because in the southern hemisphere you can't see Polaris. So,
okay, let's pull up the globe.
Yeah, because my thing is, you know, are y'all admitting though that in June you're looking at a totally whole different side of space than you are in January? Y'all saying that, but
they saying that's what's going on all the time, though.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying. It don't make y'all don't see a problem with that.
Like that's what's going on all the time here.
But it can't be.
The people at the bottom of this globe, they're gonna always see those southern stars, just like the people at the top would always see theirs, but it'll be spinning based upon the spin of the globe, right? So, but the problem with that, there's a lot of problems with this that don't exist with the flat Earth, and which I'll get to in a minute. Go ahead, Random.
Well, no, I was just I was basically trying to get to that point, and that's why, you know, he directed me to go somewhere where I can see a working model. But, you know, whenever we get questions, we bring up models and pop them up on screen. But the reason why I wanted to see it visually is to show, because like I said, you're seeing different opposite side of the space. You're saying that this is happening all the time, but it literally couldn't be happening all the time. Like I said, if it'd be better, maybe I will find it so I could pull it up and bring it. I didn't really want to do that. I thought I was asking a question of a globe earther to show me his model. But,
shit, man.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I guess I'll have to pull it up. I'm gonna fall back.
I mean, I've got the model on my PC. I can talk you through it if you like, but it's a bit complicated.
Issue myself. You know what I mean? Since you don't want to address it, you act like you don't know what I'm talking about. So go ahead, Sanchez.
Well, no, I mean, I've got that model. What I was saying, the solar system scope. It's on my PC, but you know, I can talk you through it. It's quite complicated. But what I thought it'd be better if you got the program and had a muck about with it yourself. It's free. It's called Solar System Scope.
Okay, well, listen, we'll do a whole show based just upon that, right?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
People are kind of in the future we'll do that. But today, let's move on to something else, because if y'all got to, spend too much time on it. So anybody else that want to?
That Professor Philip Bell's here. Professor Philip Bell got a chance.
Bro, Sanchez, this is Demetrius on the car, man.
Okay, correct. Stand by for smoke. So whoever else or his entourage, it's a lot of salutes to Q Butter. Q believes in the globe too. So let me be known. Y'all can unmute your mic that you want to get in it if you haven't spoke, and I'll definitely bump you up.
Here, I wanted to say something else that wasn't related to this. This was going on to a different subject. Kind of a little history thing for you. So, like the geocentric model is what you guys, or it's what every flat earther says, that that the Earth is not going around the sun. However, the geocentric model that was used for like over 1,000 years was created by Ptolemy. Ptolemy's a very famous astronomer, and he had the Earth as a sphere.
Okay, now watch this. Can I talk to that, please, y'all? Yeah. Don't let me and him talk. Let me show you something. Here's the universe that Ptolemy believed in, and you're right. He had the Earth as a spirit. It's a geocentric universe. Now watch this here, though. Here's what not only Ptolemy, Copernicus too. They believed that the Earth was in the middle of the universe as a sphere with the sun and moon going around it.
Well, yeah, that's the geocentric model.
Hey, peace and love to y'all.
But when you try to use this model, right, to prove that the Earth is going around the sun, I got to pull it up to show you, even though this model got Earth as a sphere, even though this model got Earth as a...
Let me clarify.
Hey, bro, Sanchez, Sanchez.
Let me clarify.
I can't talk, though. It's like every time I talk, though, it's interruptions.
I just want to clarify.
I got something for you. I got something.
But you got to hold up, though, brother. It's been going good the whole show. I let Random and him go. I let Craig and somebody go. the way this go is one-on-one, and then it come in and out, and then when I'm done making my point with them, then we go like that. But we can't gang up and stuff like that. So just stand by. We're gonna get everybody in. He made a point, and I just had to show him his point was flawed. He's trying to make it like these people thousands of years ago believed that the earth was going around the sun in their geocentric model. Even though it is a globe earth model, they still had the earth in the middle. This is some of the early evolutions of the universe. First, the earth was flat with all of the stars and all of that going above the earth. So if you look at this model right here, since he brought that up, it requires me to speak a minute. And if I'm not able to speak during these moments, it ruins the show. I know everybody want to go, but check this out, right? Here's where this model come from, what flat earthers are saying. That's my claim. Your claim, right? Before they had the earth as a ball, because they was experimenting with a force that was suspending this ball in nothingness, right? It couldn't have been gravity yet, because the sun is the reason why our solar system is the gravitational pull of the sun and today. So this was them during this time. By the way, the church was in charge, and they scientists were Pharisees and Sadducees that were just proclaiming the knowledge of the heavens with no proof. And you can't say they had proof, because you just said science don't prove nothing. It's a belief system. But I'm helping you with your model. There you go.
Okay, so let me clarify a little bit. Well, so the geocentric model is that Earth is at the center and everything rotates. But the thing is about this, that even though he had the geocentric model and everything orbiting the Earth, he even still said the Earth was a sphere. So did everyone then. From he lived from 100 AD to whatever. But no, he's the one who made the model, the one that was the standard model.
Let me ask you something, right? Is this model correct?
No, it is not.
So why can't I say he's incorrect on the shape of the Earth too? He can be. So if he's wrong about one thing, he can be wrong about something else. So that's why I say I don't care what he say, because this model is laughable today.
Well, then you don't care about the geocentric model or the flat Earth. Okay,
brother, flat is different forms of geocentrism other than what Copernicus and Ptolemy was conceiving. That's where you're wrong at, man.
Could I get in real quick?
This was the standard
Ain't
one
nowhere
that was
around
used
that.
for...
You don't have a monopoly
this was the standard
on
one that
geocentrism,
was...
brother.
I'm sorry. Last point.
There is no points you can make. That Ptolemy and Copernicus don't have a monopoly on what is and what is not geocentrism, because they've changed what geocentrism is all the way up to the point now it's not even geocentric no more. It's heliocentric with the sun in the middle.
Well, yeah, it's heliocentric model.
So, but that's what they say, not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is this right here. You're binding me to the rules that dummies made. This was the dude that made this model, right? He said it was a sphere, so I'm supposed to say it's a sphere. That's called consensus, not science. I'm just showing you that your science ain't right, because what Craig said earlier was that things that stand today can be changed tomorrow, and there is no such thing as proof in science. So why do y'all keep trying to prove anything to me? You should be saying, yep, Sanchez, okay, next person. I ain't got nothing to prove to you. Science don't prove that to you. Let's go.
Can I go? Can I get something in real quick, bro? Sanchez? Hey, flat powder, everybody, man. Hey, there was a video I wanted you to pull up, man. It's called Chasing the Sun on a Flat Earth, and it's a guy, Asian dude. He did a experiment where he actually drove a plane east to west, and he followed the sun. And the sun is exactly how Bro Sanchez portrays and shows us, and what he teaches us when he talks about the model, or what the Earth actually would be shaped like. And the sun just moves. If you're going to the west, it's moving away, and it's going around in a circle. That's all the sun, and it's staying right above the clouds, and it shows a hot spot right on the cloud, and it's local, just like he teaches. and it just goes right in a circle. And then he flew the plane west to east, and then he flew it east to west, and he followed it, and the sun went in the opposite directions of the way that he was flying. And it's a video that you could pull up, bro.
I saw it and watched this. Until they go and watch the video, they really can't say much on it, but I'll skip through it, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw it. It's an excellent video.
Right. And I was just saying that could be experimental, something that you can say that's experimental that can prove that we are.
Guess what? Flat. On a globe, he shouldn't be flying on the nighttime side of a globe, even having a visual of the sun.
Exactly. And you see the hot spot too?
Right.
Yeah. Come on, man.
A local light source, just
lamp.
Like we say.
Go grab a lamp and put it towards your bed. And if you move it closer to the bed, you're going to get a hot spot. If you move it away from the bed, it's going to light up the whole bed.
Watch this. You know what's crazy? You can even see in this image where the daylight began at through your nighttime sky.
Exactly.
Daylight is a bubble.
I want you to go in. Hey, I'm going to mute up, bro. And go in on the video, bro. Just go in. I'm going to mute up.
You can see the earth rotating as well.
Hey, I don't know, man. Listen, Madon, bro, you be cutting in like with some real.
Yeah, how the earth rotating in the picture? How you can see
Don't
it
ask
rotate.
him no question. Please don't do that. It's gonna crank him up in the middle of my
question,
shit.
man.
Please don't
I'm
do
muting
that.
up, and I'm letting the teacher go in. Just mute up and let bro go in, bro. I brought the question, I brought the experiment, and just let bro go in, bro. Just mute up, man.
All right, check this out, man. Let's pull up crepuscular rays from the sun. Some we shouldn't see on a globe Earth. We shouldn't.
Why shouldn't we see it?
Crepuscular. Oh man, I'm never gonna be able to talk.
Sorry, I actually thought I was muted. I do apologize. I'll mute myself.
Oh,
I was
okay.
talking to
So
my
look,
come on, man, mute up, man.
Anybody that can trace these sun rays to that sun, to that source of light right there in the sky, you see the triangulation. All of the, let me show you some too, since we brought up the ancestors and we got Madon on. I always like to show y'all the people who built those pyramids and aligned those pyramids with the heavens. This was what they taught Aten. And what they were teaching was this, a close sun.
Oh,
Aten is dealing with the knowledge of the netters and how basically the sun is casting its own net called daylight that we can see here. Check it out. The sun here is the source of light. Check this out, right? You ever wonder why if you in this bubble of light, you in daytime and it can expand further than this, right? But the thing is this, if you're in this bubble of light and you were to fly up so far, it'll get dark. Why will it get dark above your daytime sky and you're in what's called space? That ain't space. You just flew above this area where the sun is illuminating up here because the sun is making a spherical bubble above it and below it, but you in the below bubble. So look, the sun is the source of this daylight and you can see it casting a net. You can see the sunspot right there beneath it. You can examine this concept from another perspective. Once we go here, light will expand. This triangulation, right? I think if you think that these rays of light will trace back to 93 million miles away, I think you failed geometry class. Me personally, everyone knew of a close sun. You see.
So how do you explain anti-crepuscular rays, bro?
I was actually responding to somebody else, but I don't know if they want you to fight for them or not, Craig. I'll be glad.
Nah, man. Nah. You responded to Demetrius. You responded to me, bro. I just wanted you to explain it to people and just explain it to everyone that we actually have a bunch of experiments that prove that we are on a flat surface, that we live on a flat plane. You know what I'm saying? And we do, Madon. And you know we do.
You don't.
Only experiment that you have, hold on, only experiment that you have to prove that we got a freaking globe is just to say that we've been outside in space. Okay?
No, you can measure its rotation. You haven't measure the curvature of the
watch
Earth.
this. That sun should be, watch this. That sun should be on the other side of that horizon line if this was a globe.
Exactly. Exactly. Now play it, bro, and watch how the sun moves, and it just moves in a circle. That's all it does.
How do you explain anti-crepuscular rays then?
Listen, he has to keep panning the camera to the right to follow the sun because it's going around in a circle.
Because it's setting.
Okay.
So how do you guys explain anti-crepuscular rays?
No, it ain't because it's setting. It's staying at the same altitude, bro.
Yeah, and it was set over time if you kept watching it. It's just moving around in a
circle, bro, giving daylight to other places, bro. It's simple shit.
It's getting closer to the horizon as it goes. So again,
it's
how
so
do you?
simple that
so again, why is no one answering the simple question?
Could teach it.
I'm
it's
debunking
so
it right
easy,
now.
bro.
Why is no one listening?
Just look at it.
Yeah, okay, so do you want to listen?
Okay,
Hello? I'm trying to talk. You just shouting
Craig,
over without...
give you the mic. He's a caller. It was his turn. I'm going to allow y'all to address it. But I'm going to go into anti-crepuscular rays because that'll show you that the further these rays expand, the more perpendicular they look. Just like the base of a triangle. We're going to go into that too. Go ahead. I'm
showing on my screen right now anti-crepuscular rays. So is the sun under the ground?
Okay. So let's go ahead and...
So where's the sun? Is it underground or...
You want me to share anti-crep rays? I got you.
Yeah, I'm showing it on my screen right now. You can just show my screen.
Because he must have heard me say I'm gonna go into that. Go ahead, y'all.
Well, yeah, I've had this up for ages, and I'm waiting for the explanation of anti-crepuscular rays and how we can trace that back to the sun.
Can I give it to you right now?
It's called convergence. It's the horizon.
But they're going into the sky.
Go ahead, bro.
So is the sun underground then?
He gonna get you. I'm just saying, I see what he doing, bro. It's simple, bro. It's the rays expand. I'm gonna do a demonstration on my
But you said I can triangulate the rays back to the source.
Hold on, bro. Don't go to putting words and I hate when he do that, right?
Well, no, those are the words you said. I'm not putting words in your mouth. Those were the words you said.
Don't try to rush it, bro. I already said what I said earlier. You said explain.
You said you can triangulate.
I said what? Hold on. Wait a minute, Craig. This is getting confusing. After I said what I said, you told me to explain crepuscular rays, but you're not allowing me to do it. Now, I want to explain it. Yeah, anti-crep rays, no doubt. I got you. Can I do that now?
Yeah, please go ahead. That's what I'm waiting for.
All right, I'm about to share my screen because this might take a minute if I do it the other way. So check this out. I can share paint with everybody. Oh no, I can't because the people, I know how I can do it. Let me just open up a quick another window share for them, and I'm gonna make my example right here. It'll only take a minute. Cool, there we go. So here's those anti-crep rays. I already went over that. Oh, well, I was about to go over that. So let me get this right, man. Boom, this is good enough. Let's say that the earth is a big circle. Let's get a blue for that. Boom, let's make a big circle. Right? Now, guess what, y'all? The sun above this circle, right? The further that these rays go from you, from the sun, the more they're gonna expand all the way, right? Till they reach a point when the sun gets so far away from you that they're gonna appear perpendicular, or what they call an anti-crep.
How?
So I'm about to demonstrate that now. We all
because what you just drew doesn't make
sense. He asks questions, y'all, but he don't really want answers. I'm starting to notice that, y'all. They don't.
Sorry,
they won't.
I apologize. I just that's how I'd work with conversations. I apologize.
I just want to answer you and get out of the way. So we see the demonstration that I'm doing in paint, right? If the sun is moving away from you, those rays are now going to appear like what I'm about to show now. Now let me switch my screen share to go to compare that with what I'm showing here. Those rays are gonna appear exactly like this when the sun move away from you. Because the further away the sun get from you, the less triangulation we see from its rays. Why? Because that's the base of a pyramid like this one. If the sun is right above you like this image, making a sunspot, you will see more triangulation. But when the sun get way down there on the horizon line, Just like the base of a pyramid, the rays expand, as we see here, just like I was just doing in paint. I made this same thing. That the
you didn't show that in paint at all, though.
It's simple.
But you didn't show that in paint. In paint, you showed the lines going up in the sky. You didn't show.
Okay,
you literally did not answer. Bro, you literally did not answer the question there. Yeah, you literally didn't answer the question there.
I lost then on that one. Then
I agree, you lost. You didn't answer the question in the slightest.
Because you know what? At this point, I'm doing such a good job. I'm not going to let him troll after my answers. Cool, brother.
Dude, this isn't a troll. I'm asking you to explain. You didn't answer the question.
I got to let other. That's what I'm saying, and there's only a few people getting the fight. That's why I got to mute everybody and get the new people, and it's a bunch of people on, 21 people, and more global is on than a few we hear. Is it time for us to hear what's the next globalist want the mic? Salute to Cuba.
Just to say, I've got about 15 minutes left, okay?
Okay, well, Craig, with your 15 minutes, we're going to let J-Dub go spar with you for your 15 minutes. He's the next caller. You go ahead. Go ahead.
You want to stop screen sharing then?
I'm on the globe side, though.
Oh, okay, so in that case, then, let me just, J-Dub, you next. Let me get a flat earther that has not had the mic that got a question for Craig before he leaves.
Hey, I'm a flat earther.
Yeah, I'm a flat earther. I got a question.
I just want to know from Craig, please, bro. Can he prove anywhere in the southern hemisphere that has 24-hour daylight? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, Antarctica. There's videos of it.
Is there proof? Because
there's videos of it. Yeah, I'd say a video of it happening is proof. Yeah,
it's very edited. It's very edited.
Well, no, not that. I can show you videos that aren't edited at all.
Go in a circle.
Yeah. So if you go to mctoon.net, you can see a really good video on there that doesn't have any kind of editing and looping or anything. That is exactly what you guys asked for: proof of the 24-hour sun. I mean, the other way you could figure it out is, go there yourself. But, there's videos of the 24-hour sun. You can say they're fake all you like, but there's videos of it.
So I have a question for you then, Craig. If it's 24-hour sunlight in Antarctica, as you say, when Alaska has 24-hour sunlight, how is somewhere like China getting a sunrise and a sunset during the same time it's sticking out 24 hours in Alaska?
Because
and knowing that it's at the bottom of the ball, or we can use all Australia if you want to.
Well, it's very simple. If I was to show you the globe like this, it would look like it is all water, because literally half of the globe is water. So when this side is facing the sun, both Alaska and China can have bits of the sun at the same time. It's simple. I'm literally pointing towards the camera right now, that a bit of Alaska and China, they can both see the sun at the same time. It's just because the Earth is a sphere and we exist in a three-dimensional universe.
But you're looking up 93 million miles away. How are you looking up 93 million miles away? That's not a small distance. Like if you're in
what do you mean looking
Australia and you're looking up 93 million miles at the bottom of the ball. And if you're in Alaska, you're looking up in the northern hemisphere 93 million miles up. But the Earth is only rotating.
There's Alaska and there's Australia, both looking towards the sun 93 million miles away. That can happen at the same time. I'm literally showing it in 3D space right now on a globe. I would suggest that to answer these questions, you do what I suggested to the other gentleman and download Solar System Scope and compare the sun and Earth in 3D space for yourself. It's much better than me trying to describe 3D space to you.
But it's based upon unproven math, like how far the sun is. You can create a model with math that you made up.
We've bounced radar off the sun.
93 million miles away.
Well, we bounced radar off the sun, so we know how far away it is.
Oh, radar
Exactly.
goes 93 million miles away.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's called radio. They use radio telescope.
Yeah. In 1968, there was an experiment done with an extremely large radio telescope bouncing radar off of the sun. They had to have it at a specific wavelength so that it interacted with a specific plasma layer in the sun to be reflected back, and they were able to calculate the distance to the sun using that method. There's also many other methods, including the fact that we sent a probe there. But you know, we know the distance to the sun. We've measured it in many different ways.
You sent the probe there.
Yeah, it was called the Solar Parker probe. It got to within like 3 million miles of the star's corona.
Okay, so what was the probe made out of? Let's talk about that real quick.
Stuff designed to cope in space with an extremely good heat shield.
And what year was this when they sent this probe again?
I think the Solar Parker probe was launched in 2020. I might be wrong there.
Okay, cool.
It's a relatively recent thing.
Name the materials that's able to.
I'm not entirely sure of the materials that were used to construct the Solar Parker probe, but I'm sure if you look up the materials,
have a scientific conversation about it. But that's cool.
Well, I could look up those details, but right now, offhand, I do not know the material constructions of the Solar Parker probe.
So I want to assume that it can make it to space if you don't know the materials needed to make it to space. A lot of y'all beliefs is based on assumptions.
Well, I'm just saying I don't know it right now offhand. I've got the details somewhere else. I just don't remember them off the top of my head, because unfortunately, I do not have an eidetic memory. I would love to have an eidetic memory, but I'm not Sheldon Cooper.
You can screen share right now like you did a minute ago. We'll wait.
I mean, it's like anyone can get this information. It's not something that is just exclusive to me. That's the thing.
Get it real quick before you go. Screen share before you go. Get it real quick. So
why don't you just Google instead of me doing it? You're in control of the stream. Why don't you just Google materials of the Solar Parker probe and look it up yourself?
I unlocked the screen share so you can do your thing. If the handles is yours.
Well, you can Google just as well as me, right? You can Google the words materials of the Solar Parker probe. Just because I don't know the materials right now, it doesn't change the fact.
Now, thank you to him.
Yeah. So
I just wanted to know what materials was able to make it through. That's a nerd question, scientific question.
Yeah, cool. And you can find the information easily. I unfortunately don't have that to hand right now.
What they call it stats for nerds.
I'm pretty tired, so I'm gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna call this right, bro. Before I go, I just want to say thank you for this. Was fun. You're gonna hit me up with a contract and stuff for Friday, right?
Actually, I'm going to email that to you today, right after I get off the show. I'm gonna shoot you the email.
I appreciate that.
You can do your thing, scan it, and then just send it back, and we good.
Roger for that. Appreciate that very much. Thank you very much to all your people. JP, I accept your apology, all right, but it's not cool. Just because you disagree with someone online, don't threaten them. Mainly because you don't know who you're threatening, and you may think of me as a little nerdy boy that sits on the computer, but I was recently arrested for beating my neighbor into a pulp so much that he had to go to hospital. So please don't threaten people online, okay? And with that, I will say thank you very much.
Globe Earthers, you know what? If the Earth, listen. If the Earth is a globe, you globalists are sure in the hell gonna be violent upon it. So
I won't be violent.
One thing
I would never try to beat someone up because they disagree with me.
Earthers are big fans of violence and all of that. Yeah.
Now, and I do not say that, and there's no one on my channel that has ever said that. The only reason I ever get violent is to defend myself and my family. But threatening people that you disagree with online is a really gamma move, But anyway, on that, thank you, bro. I look forward to the email, and I'll get that back to you as soon as possible, okay? And peace out. I'll speak to you all soon.
Peace out, Craig. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and I'm not even kidding, just because you disagree with someone online, doesn't mean that you threaten them, right? And I have never threatened to beat up a flat earther or to hurt them or anything, right? But I've had hundreds of death threats, thousands of death threats, you know, and why? Why do you have to be like that? And it's especially important to realize that doing things like that is stupid, because you look at me and you think I'm a little nerdy little twat, right? That just sits on his ass. But I've never lost a fight. I may be disabled, but I defend myself, and I do. I did. I got put in jail for it. Don't threaten people online that you disagree with. It's a fucking stupid thing to do. Look, we all know that Daniel Pratt needs a fucking slap from someone, right? But don't threaten him. Don't tell him that you're going to do it. Same with Santos Bonacci. Threatened to kill me. The guy needs a slap from someone, but don't threaten him. Don't message him saying that you're going to beat him up, because we're better than that. They showed that they aren't. Well, what a fucking night. 2 streams, a lot of dumb. My head is hurting. Mike Mitch Fit for $2 says, how do I go live with you? I have questions for you, bro. Send me an email and we'll try and get some stuff sorted. Thank you very much for the $2. I really appreciate it. Bill Tetley for $5. Fight the flat shirt. Why does Bro Sanchez sound like Jesse Jackson, Meek Oswald Bates? I think I've entered Bizarro World. You tell me about it. Skidmark McGee, member for 11 months, says all Bro can do is cry like a baby back bitch. Yeah, man. It's eggshells with that guy. You know, you have to make sure that, you know, you're not triggering him by saying something. It's so hard to not have him throw a hissy fit. Bill Tetley 420. Puff, puff, pass. Don't break the cycle, Craig. My weed right now. Kentucky Jerk for $5. Here's a donation to FTFE. I wouldn't pay for Bro Sanchez debate because he doesn't understand third grade science and plays the race card when he loses. Yeah. It was racist to me once. Pitt, member for 25 months, says understanding is difficult. Yes, it is. Especially for flat earthers. Nilo, £5, says I've just had a blood plasma injection today. It spun my blood and separated into 3 layers. Red bottom, white middle, and orange top. Yes, because a force is required to separate things by density. JSS Tiger for $5. Bro Sanchez, the rock is mass, air is volume. Lovebot 199, please delete my program files, please. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm sorry. Randomly Epic gifts 10 memberships, and then Siggy Sigworld gifts 50 memberships. So if you became a member during this stream and you didn't do it yourself, then chuck a massive thank you to Randomly Epic and Siggy Sigworld. You fucking absolute... Oh, I love you. How can you... Oh. Whoop, 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 whoop. More super chats. Siggy Sigwald, member for 19 months, says, I'm the opera of memberships. You get a membership! You get a membership! You get a membership! You get a membership! Siggy Sigwald for 666 ARS says, for fuck's sake, Newton is pseudoscience because it's previous to the formal enunciation of the scientific method. Only Flerfs. Hail Sagan. Yeah. And that whole Newton thing's stupid because Newton never had a theory or claimed to know what was going on. He just had observations. Oh, look, this shit is happening. I can describe what's happening with this formula. That's it. Weeboo Metalhead, member for 33 months, says, if so, Bro Sanchez, if science proves in your world you need to leave there and join the real world, you should copy his shirt and add it explains. Bewdog199 says, can you say complete ignorance? You rock, FTFE. No, you rock, random citizen. Nerd Alert for €5. An actual proof in mathematics can be independently verified by anyone capable of logic. The bro finding gold in his backyard. So dumb. Eon Dustbin, member for 21 months, says, if you dumb it down anymore for him, it just end up being a series of grunts and hand gestures. Gravity, go down. Acid Punch Drunk Gaming for £2 says, can I have some more word with my salad? They love the word salad. Slivery for £5 says, I put a spearmint in a cave in a dish. Does that count? I guess it's science. Because it's proven something. I don't know. Moosey for $10. Thank you very much. Guys, honestly, the support is absolutely insane. Honest. 60 new members during this stream. 60? Are you kidding? Like, my wife, she's sees me cry anymore, she's going to dump me. Moosey for $10 says, Bro Sanchez, debate aside, there's a level of maturity and wisdom that's greatly hindered by your pride. Humility isn't achieved through hypocrisy. If you see that pride someday, amen. Cheers, Craig. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate a massive amount of support from all of you. PhD Tony, the only real man in the room, $10 Australian. So your guests are saying that they've worked out something quite simple, that every astronomer on the Earth and throughout history has been too stupid to notice? Yes, indeed. Because let's not forget, right? Flat Earthers are smarter than everyone else, right? Traveller X for 70 super chats. It skipped. For $5 Australian, what upsets Flerfs more? Getting the evidence they asked for or being asked to provide evidence for the claim they just made? Asking them for evidence just upsets them outright. Gets you banned. Lovebot199 says, beep boop. Very rude. Mr. Toffee's member for 16 months says, please make the PPV a dumpster fire. Oh, I will. I'm going to ruin that. In the good way. MB for £2 says, bloody hell, what a flock of derp and nasty. Rachbot for $2 Australian says, beep, boop, boop, beep. All the love, Rachbot. Bill Tetley, $4.99. Here's one from me to keep the grinder full. I'll have to get some more tomorrow. Thank you very much. Design Song 1, $5. When they're looking for new stars, suggest Google Sky Map and challenge them to find stars from the just past zodiac. Yeah. They couldn't. Because they couldn't tie shoelaces. Randomly Epic for $10. I kind of want to debate a Flerf, but I don't know if I have the patience. Don't do it. It's bad for your mental health. Leave it to me. I will take the bullet for you. Whoop. Bill Tetley, $4.99. Here's some more to please not cry. You need Emma so bad. I do need Emma. No lie, I'd be dead without that woman. Oh no, it's Andy for £2. Says, fun for us to see his experiments that prove flat Earth. Yeah, there is none. PhD Tony for $10 says, hear that, everyone? More donations and we can set Emma free. Make this man cry. No, Emma can't leave me. We've been married for 16 years, guys. That's like forever. How has she put up with me? 16 years? You've only known me for like 5. Well, what a fun night. What an incredible amount of support you guys have given me. Like, I genuinely get stuck for words at points like this when I look at the revenue that I've earned for the day and I get imposter syndrome. I don't feel worthy of this love that you impart upon me. So, thank you for just being here, watching my streams. There was like 700 people watching at one point, and that's incredible. And then you send super chats and gift memberships, and like it touches me in places that it shouldn't. Woo woo. And just because, I hate you all so much, I'm going to make you listen to a song where I rap.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for rain right now.
Thank you, MB.
Right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible. When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A panorama
it was a little bit.
Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon up to the stratosphere. Stage 3.
You're a few fries
Flat base, $2 Australian. I'm touching something.
The wheel's spinning, but the hamster's dead.
Again, sorry for yesterday, guys.
You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24
cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska.
You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
£5. You're not worthy.
Calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need to have to bury birds in your backyard. You're a man of science. Poison grace. Mace who did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault will knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realise you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of a boot without instructions on the heel. You're sneaking, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit short of a full bowl.
In the night sky are like shooting stars.
Smash the like button, guys.
Right now, bring right now, bring right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a bring right now, bring right now, bring right now.
Santa twat for dumb fuck of the decade.
Thought it was over?
Hell yes.
Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I ripped up when your mom's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you call a water level, sit and swivel. You nasal gazing muppet, you can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them. And I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck.
Thank you very much for watching. I've just finished the poll. Is this a poll? Yes, 50%. No, 50%. Question, if this isn't a poll, why did you click no? Let me leave you with this incredible thought. There are two types of people in the world. Those that can extrapolate from incomplete data. Remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flyer.
Fight the fly, 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 fight the fly.
Good night.